Alright, this song isn't from Ace Attorney Investigations, but it's still pretty good. Apollo Justice. I just felt some nostalgia for it today. Since it's gonna be a while before I stream that, whenever that happens. Don't worry about it. We're playing Ace Attorney Investigations Prosecutor's Path today. It's been about a week since we last played, and if I remember correctly, what happened last time? I believe Jack and Jill went and got killed, and something about a pail of water. No. For the first time in what feels like a while, we're using Little Thief again, and we stopped right in the middle of it, recreating a crime from 12 years ago, because as you do in Ace Attorney, that is the key to solving the case of 0 years now. So let's get back into it, see if I remember the situation. For some reason, Dijun Huang was there, which gives us a clue, some kind of connection to the events of today. And also Patricia Rowland, it was an orphanage. Lots to think about. Let's get back into it though. Hopefully everything is working. Continue. The Grand Turnabout, Middle, Part 1. I have to be careful I don't accidentally load a save state or anything like that. When it comes to emulators, you just never know if it's going to wipe out all your save data. If I remember correctly, I didn't talk to anybody in this new state.
What a scoop! What do you look at that? All those folks are done turn green. Maybe they're sick or something, but their clothes are green too.
Well, I'll be. Their clothes are... I already read all this. Alright, time to never talk to Lana again. Alright, sir, Mr. Trenchcoat Man, why are you trying to steal my dad's look? Only he's allowed to wear a trench coat. This person actually isn't that... It's hard to tell. Because Dijun Huang could just be a huge man, or this person in the coat could actually not be that tall. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Ba-ba-da. Poor Snowman. Got his eye clawed out. Yeah, you know, Olaf, if he could feel that... Ouch. Oof.
About the snowman. When we recreated the scene where Mr. Cameron was killed, it already melted. Its scarf was all soggy, and one of its button eyes was missing.
Now we know why it's missing. Somebody may have tried to grab onto it, or maybe they needed it. Oh, wait, Jack was clutching onto a button. I wonder why. Indeed, at this stage, it appears that most of its original form was still intact. Although there's one spot that looks unnaturally lacking.
Poor thing. I bet some naughty kid must have plucked it off. Although from a thief's perspective, that kid does have some promise.
How about steal something more valuable, like a gold coin?
Was it plucked off by one of the children at the orphanage? No. Perhaps it was taken by an entirely different person altogether.
Well, maybe. Dylan, nice fourth. Caught up on Yakuza. I was just talking about that before stream. I don't want to do this right yet. Or maybe I do, actually. Hold on. Just talking about the Yakuza 8 announcement. I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone who doesn't know yet, but I'm excited. I will say they are keeping Ichiban, and that's all I need. They're continuing his story. They have faith in him being, like, the new protagonist. At least, you know, the main new protagonist. Cameron's corpse held it tightly in his right hand.
The button! The button!
And that gives me a sign that... Oh boy, I'm gonna have a new favorite RPG series for a while. I'm a little bit scared. Whenever I do play Yakuza 8, that's gonna usurp whatever comes out. If Yakuza 8 and Dragon Quest 3 Remake come out at the same time, I'm screwed. The snowman. Wouldn't you say it's missing something?
That's right, eye is missing!
Precisely. And what's more, that missing eye happens to be in our possession. Well, a digital recreation of it.
The button that Mr. Cameron was holding on to. It's got the exact same design as the snowman's left eye.
If we assume this button was indeed the snowman's eye, a huge contradiction arises. Oh, that was loud. Why was that so loud? Oof, ow. Twitch integrated throwing system, what happened to you? Hold on a second, I need to fix this. I did, I did update it off stream. I was mentioning before the version I had wasn't working. Alright, one of these has to be volume, I think. Here we go. Oh my gosh, that default is so high. Let me see. Now I can't hear it at all. There you go, that's better. A huge contradiction arises, and that's not the only thing that arises. My brain cells. They are spawning as we speak. Alright, the location of the victim, location of the snowman, location of the president. Well, are we saying that something in the recreation is wrong? Oh, it could be any one of these things. I just don't trust technology. Okay. I'm thinking because the victim was way over there, how could he grab the snowman's eye? So either the victim's in the wrong place or the snowman's in the wrong place. I think the victim. Because the victim could have been moved after he died, making us think he was somewhere else entirely. But if he was closer to the scene, that would make sense. Why the killer or the kidnapper would want him dead. The victim was holding onto the button. Furthermore, the button was stained with blood. In other words, he grabbed the button after he was attacked. For example, if we were to picture it in this way, after being struck in the back of the head, Mr. Cameron lost his balance. As he was falling, he reached out his hand towards the nearby snowman. However, it could not support his weight, and he collapsed while still grasping the button.
Huh? That means Mr. Cameron was near the snowman when he was attacked?
Indeed. At the very least, he must have been within arm's reach. However, that's not where he ended up being. Yeah, you notice the volume gradient. It silenced out so fast. I don't know what's going on with Twitch integrated throwing system. Also, welcome on in, Malkit's Blade Mancer. Yeah, no. It's quite clear that he would have not been able to reach it from his current position.
But Mr. Cameron's footprints only lead towards the flower bed.
Easy to walk in somebody else's footprints, though. Can we be certain that those footprints really are Mr. Cameron's? It seems we'll need to investigate them one more time.
Understood. I'll recreate the time the body was discovered scene once more time.
I don't think that was decibels. That seemed logarithmic or something. I'm sorry, exponential.
These footprints should match up with Mr. Cameron's shoes, right?
Let's inspect them again. Hello? These footprints, are they really Mr. Cameron's?
They're from size 11 shoes, and these huge footprints match up with Mr. Cameron's shoes. No matter how you look at it, they're moving steadily towards the center of the flower beds.
Again, remember that this is overlaying on top of the Grand Tower area. So, I imagine, at some point we accidentally smack into a wall that's there now, while we're trying to walk into an area that used to be open. But when Mr. Cameron was attacked, he grabbed the button from the snowman.
Even with a great Thieves' Peak human conditioning, your arm just can't stretch that far. Maybe if you eat a gum-gum fruit. Yo-ho-ho.
Hey, what are you talking about?
It's the name of the treasure, Mr. Edgeworth. The One Piece is real!
Looks like I've got a new anime to watch.
Let alone an ordinary civilian, it would be completely impossible.
The footprints come from the shoes worn by the victim, just as the case files say. However, does that mean Mr. Cameron was the owner of these shoes?
I mean, it could have just been another size 11 shoe person.
We should re-examine Mr. Cameron's shoes.
Could be that the information just assumed it was size 11 because footprints were. Ba-ba-ba-ba-da-da-da. Yes, Drewby, this is what it looks like when a chicken goes to court. How you doing, Drew? You got a stream today? Oh, that's right. Didn't you finish Metal Gear Solid 2? Are you starting Metal Gear 1 today? I gotta come by later. It's gonna happen, you know it. Oh boy, I'm excited. Whatever you decide to do, though, whatever you decide to do, you're gonna launch the Metal Gear Solid 3 disc, because it's on there. Or rather, the game from the HD collection, I believe. I hope you have a fun time, dude. Hope you had a good day. Hope everybody had a good day today. I got some new Yu-Gi-Oh cards in, just been working on my Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Yeah, I'm making the new Tier 0, the Sprite deck. It's, I added something called the Evil Twins to it. It's like this archetype that's like twin pop stars that come as a pair. It's a fun little, I don't know, it's been doing well in tournaments. I'm like, that sounds like a cool archetype. But, you know, enough about me. Watching an anime that isn't Steel Samurai? Objection. And then you see, Edgeworth only watches tokusatsu that's Steel Samurai, but anime, he'll take anything that matches the hero's journey. Easy. Oh, jeez. There was a dumb little argument on Twitter earlier today, and I don't even want to bring it up, but somebody was arguing that Dragon Ball Z wasn't anime because it follows the hero's journey, and that's like, oh, that's inherently a Western concept, therefore it's not anime. I'm like, dude, it's based on Journey to the West. Dude, like, stories from all over the world, all over time, use the hero's journey. It's not just a Western thing. I don't even know where they're coming from. I don't want to humor them.
These shoes should match the footprints, however.
These shoes? Seems like they were not the ones originally worn by the victim. Oh, really?
What do you mean?
If you look closely, you'll see the laces were tied up strangely. And the size doesn't seem to fit quite right, either. He just wanted to use clown shoes for his new profession. He's not just a clown, he's the entire circus. Victim shoes data.
That would mean these huge footprints leading up to the victim's feet.
Most likely made by someone other than the victim. I like that whoever did this went through the trouble of putting two big shoes on the victim instead of, I don't know, wiping away the footprints. Like, they realized that the footprints were wrong, but instead of hiding them, they're just like, here, have my shoes.
So then, the footprints leading to and from the victim's head must be Mr. Cameron's.
No, not necessarily. They seem a little too small to be the victim's footprints.
So none of the footprints are his? Then which way did Mr. Cameron walk from?
It's quite simple. The victim did not walk here on his own accord, but rather, he was carried here after he was murdered by the culprit. Easy. Again, I mentioned this last time. I'm surprised footprints aren't more common in the Ace Attorney world.
The question now becomes, where was he killed and carried from? Perhaps it was near the snowman after all?
Let me reassess what's in my logic right now. Oop-a-ba-ba-doo-da-doo-da. Murder weapon brick. What did Blaze dig up? Was Blaze a kidnapper? Signs that Cameron's body was carried. I still can't believe he held on to the 3 hoofprints thing so long. Hold on, let me go back to the other new recreation, because I'm not sure we were done looking at that yet. Recreate the recreation of the recreated scene based on Mr. Cameron's recreated testimony. What the gluck's going on in here? Oh, you know, just a little crime solving.
I'm doing my best, Dad.
What's up, Enigmatic Shark? Also, Sigidia Puns, nice Sholmes. Welcome. Dalek Skywing, hello, hello. If they wiped the footprints, it'd be obvious he didn't get there by himself. Maybe. Maybe. Or if they just, like, added so many other new footprints that it just looked like, yeah, this is where, these are footprints from when the kids were playing. I don't know. You can tell I'd be a terrible murderer by the fact that I don't know how to hide evidence.
I've recreated the scene.
Look, Cameron, when he was aliving.
Cameron took a photo of the president from this spot.
And he also called Miss Crane, right? At that time, the killer was already behind him,
holding the murderous brick.
If that's really where he was. Yeah, Twitter'd be wildin' sometimes. Question, when I get back to Yakuza, am I jumping into Yakuza 8 and Gaiden immediately? Might as well, since that's the one I'm qualified to play. Because, you know, can't play Judgment 2 without Judgment 1. Can't play any of the other Yakuzas without playing either 1 or 0. It's like, alright, well, I played 7, so I guess I can play 8. And I guess Ishin when that comes out. Yeah, I'm good at solving crimes, not causing them. Cameron took a photo of the president from this spot, and he also, I wanted to look at the brickman. Ba-da-da-da. Just melt all the snow. It's the only way. Oh, I expected his normal theme. I feel sad now. Bum bum ba-dum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-dum yum bum ba-da-da-dum ba-do-do-do-do-do. This is the president just before he was kidnapped at gunpoint.
The president was strong, but there's no way he'd win against a gun.
I don't know. Maybe this incident is why he started always wearing a bulletproof vest, though. It makes sense. And Mr. Cameron photographed this scene from the middle of the flower beds. There's something highly unnatural about this.
It would have been impossible for him to grab the snowman's button from there.
Indeed. We should examine the state of the other recreation once more. Oh, I really do have to go look at the other one now. Got it. Shovel all the snow. At this point, we're talking about like how much prep time could the culprit possibly have had before someone like saw them or something, you know? Batman with prep time could do anything. Good thing Batman's on our side, right? Or Melty Man. All right, let's see if I need nooks and crannies. Nope. Judgment. Yeah, you know, I'm assuming they've written Yakuza 8 where you don't need judgment. Like, maybe there'll be some hints here and there, but... you know. Without playing literally every game, it's impossible for me to just know everything, you know?
What did you want?
Oh, John's talking now, huh? John, I'd like you to tell me the exact details of your kidnapping. Oh, Sour, please!
You were kidnapped at the garbage pickup area, right? Why'd you go there? You don't have to act as a go-between. I can just talk to the old man directly. So he says. Looks like he's finally starting to warm up to you. I went to the garbage pickup to throw away the flowers I found at the party. It was nearby, and I thought it'd be harder to find there if I just tossed them in the trash can. I went there last night too, but the gate was locked.
And that's why you went there again today to dispose of them?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. When I got there, someone suddenly grabbed me from behind. And used Sleepy ZZZ on you, right? Catching Z's is now super easy with Sleepy ZZZ.
Even though she was also a victim to it, she seems to have taken a liking to the slogan.
Hey, you know, if someone used sleeping medicine on me and it knocked me out, I'd be like, wow, okay, this is what I'm gonna use to go to sleep every night now. Why not?
Whoever grabbed me was really strong, but that's all I know. I have no idea who it was.
I see. So that's what happened. Did I show you my badge yet?
What's that supposed to be? Giving me that isn't gonna land you a role in the film.
Wasn't showing it to you so that I could be in the movie. Only if the Steel Samurai's involved. Da, da, da. If you were to remove the footprints, it makes it more obvious how he's carried there. Maybe. You'd have to erase them in a way that, like, makes it less obvious. Like, maybe filling them in with extra snow. And then keeping the footprints on the right side, you know? And then there... you just... imagine you just, like, hop on all the flower beds so that you don't leave extra footprints trying to hide the other footprints. After the drugs wore off, did you notice anything about your surroundings?
Those drugs were brought to you by Sleepy ZZZ. Catching Z's is now super easy.
You said the slogan already. Hey, please, you don't have to advertise. Hashtag not sponsored.
It was kinda cold when I woke up. I was in a dark, empty room. Boxes with floating and writing on them were lying around, so I figured I was in a warehouse. The whole place was like a giant refrigerator. It was a commercial warehouse.
Footprints on the flower beds? The flowers hide them. Also, there isn't as much snow on them, it looks like.
That's right. John was rescued thanks to the collective efforts of Kay and Detective Gumshoe.
Since it was still a bit cold, the cooling in its power must have not been cut for too long. For some reason, they didn't think to take my phone, so I used it to call for help.
I see. In any case, it's good that you're safe and sound, John.
Ha! I don't need your fake sympathy, old man.
What an incorrigible child.
He's just like a certain someone I know.
Hey, what does that mean? See, look, there's snow on the edges of the flower beds, but the dirt inside, now that's not covered in snow. And then you leave footprints in the dirt. Okay, here's what you do. You just don't wear shoes, and you just leave chicken prints all over, and they'll be like, there's no way a chicken carried this body over here. No one would suspect me.
Mr. Cameron's body was moved. If we consider the button he was holding onto, it's highly likely that he was killed near this snowman. I should take a closer look.
I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking cranny and nook and cranny and cranberry and Sprite cranberry. Snowman's scarf looks like.
The snowman has become a sad sight to look at.
It was the snowman, clearly. You know, you ever heard of an ice bullet? Well, the snowman's full of them. He just keeps them inside his body. He doesn't need the reload ammo. It's the perfect crime. It can't be helped. Snow and ice both melt away with time.
Just like the mysteries of the cases you've solved, Mr. Edgeworth. As time passes, those mysteries melt away while you continue to keep your cool.
You do realize I'm racking my brain trying to solve those mysteries during a case.
It ain't easy, Kay. Ain't easy.
There are some size 7 footprints going back and forth.
You think they had to, like, translate these from, like, Japan shoe sizes to US shoe sizes? Because they are different.
According to the police files, these are the culprit's footprints.
Indeed. They seem to grow faint and disappear as they approach the road.
There's not much snow left on the road after all.
As expected, it'll be difficult to determine who these footprints belong to. There might be a way. I can't do any deduction here. Oh, what about these flowers? It appears that the outside of the facility was also decorated with flower beds. Jack Frost is our suspect now. Yeah, basically. I mean, he's nipping at your nose. That's just the warning shot. He can just freeze your heart inside your own body. I'm sure there's a JoJo stand that can do that. Like, what's, maybe that guy that ice skates? Something like that?
Wow, so there are flowers that bloom in the winter. Snow is even piled up on the flower bed.
Indeed. It seems a little cold and it gives off a refined taste, even though it's just a recreation. And you know, nowadays, any plants in California are replaced with like succulents or just rocks. Like, yeah, we've just gotten used to these droughts now. My hometown, there's so many people who replace their lawns with rock gardens or like astroturf. It's just what California looks like now, I guess.
Indeed. It gives off,
oh. Wait, did Kay just say the same thing Edward said, or did I read that in the wrong voice? One of those. Alright, if I look at the snowman again, will he say nook and cranny? Oh, there's still something I'm missing here. Oh, what about the bricks? Is a brick? Yeah, a brick is missing. There you go. One of the bricks near the snowman is missing.
huh? There's a brick missing here.
The rest are all in order. It's strange that only this one is missing. I wonder where the brick came from. None of the flower beds near the Yeah, the body seemed to have been it. Here we go. Brown bricks. I'm sorry, Blaze. Or whoever did this. I'm assuming it's Blaze. But you won't get away with mining bricks from someone else's Minecraft build. That's against the rules. The brick used to kill Samurai was near Cameron was near the snowman. Perhaps the missing brick was the one used as the murder weapon. Hey, oh hell, how's it going? Did you have a good day today? I've been saying I miss going to your streams, but work has been absolute hell recently. I have just no time to watch streams during work. It sucks. I'm getting through it though. My birthday was this week, and I just want this week to be over. But I also don't want it to end because there's a project we're doing for work next week that's gonna be even harder. Oh boy.
Ah, yeah, it seems to be just the right size to fit in that gap perfectly.
In California, we're just gonna have to put grass textures on our yards. Yeah, no, it's gonna look like an old GameCube game. You know, back when they just used pictures as textures? Look at Sonic Adventure 2, everything's just a picture. Brick near the snowman, body was moved. I guess these two? Showing that Cameron was closer to the snowman. I feel like we would have figured that out like 3 deductions ago, but hey, you know, we're just covering our bases. As I thought, it seems the murder actually occurred near the snowman. Why isn't there that much blood around it, though?
Both the button Mr. Cameron was holding and the murder weapon came from there.
Indeed. Also, if we assume that the killer picked up the brick near the snowman, and then tried to sneak up behind Mr. Cameron...
Oh! Mr. Cameron would have totally seen the person picking up the brick.
Exactly. Okay, please update the recreation. Mr. Cameron was not in the middle of the flower beds, but near the snowman.
Okay, I'm on it.
I'll get a break soon, AOL. I just hope you're doing good. Yeah! Jack Frost the suspect. What were the last words said to the victim before they died?
Hee-ho!
Yeah, you know. Imagine if this was Ace Attorney 6. Just hear a faint hee-ho near the victim's last memory. Hee-hee. Ah. And this makes it possible that maybe... Oh, this is a little bit weird now. What? Why are you here? What are you taking a picture of if you're not taking a picture of the... Unless they? The kidnapper and Huang were standing here? But that's not what the picture shows. Huh.
No matter how you look at it, this is strange.
All the people involved in the case are gathered in the same place.
Did we make a mistake here or something?
One piece of evidence this recreation is based on is odd. If I had to choose which piece of evidence is fake,
the picture maybe. What if Dijun Huang was willingly kidnapped? What if there was something involved? Like, what if he was trying to get the ransom money out of his country? What if it was that? So this whole kidnapping may have been staged, and that's why they could take a picture where it looks like he was being kidnapped here. I'm saying the picture is fake. It doesn't line up. Was this photo really taken by Mr. Cameron?
Huh? What do you mean?
We have proven that whoever killed Mr. Cameron also moved the body. For what reason would they have to deliberately move his body? Perhaps the victim wanted to falsify the scene that Mr. Cameron witnessed.
And that's why they took a fake photo?
They made the president stand under the streetlight. Up and down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the light, and took a photo with Cameron's camera on. It would have been quite simple.
Now that you mention it, Mr. Cameron's camera only had one photo on it, right?
It's like they wanted to make sure that they used the right photo. Indeed, in all likelihood, the original roll of film had been removed from the camera. And after loading a new roll of film into the camera, the fake photo was taken.
I see! So this photo must have been taken after Mr. Cameron was killed, right?
I called it. Didn't they mention the Lang clan lost track of the president? Yeah, supposedly one of the best members of the police force. Buddy with Dijun Huang should know everything about him. But if Dijun willingly disappeared, then it makes sense that it'd be hard to track. Hey! AOL's doing your best. Hey, hanging in there. I don't know what it is. It feels like everybody I know has been having a bit of a tough time recently. Maybe it's just that time of the year. I don't know. Holidays are getting sparser and it's all hot and people are just trying to survive. Whatever it is ailing y'all, hang in there. I'm hanging in there too. Cameron's photo. When an actual photographer spam shots. Well, at least Lada does. Exactly. This was not the scene that Mr. Cameron actually witnessed. It's likely that this photo is forged evidence.
Then where did Mr. Cameron witness the president and his kidnapper?
The photo isn't the only piece of evidence that indicates what Mr. Cameron witnessed.
The testimony you left on the answering machine!
Precisely. We should listen to the recording one more time and confirm what was said. Remember, one of the problems was that Huang and the kidnapper were not actually on the orphanage grounds. So it was hard to, like, point to the orphanage, headmaster? What was Patricia Rowland at the time? It was hard to pin the blame on Patricia. But if they actually were here...
They were over there? So what's the basis for that claim?
What? What's wrong? The footprints go there. Do I really need a basis for my claims?
In other words, you don't know, do you?
Oh! So it wasn't there. Alright, let's actually look at the testimony, because I didn't read it. I just assumed there was only one place. Maybe they were in the bear glue. All snug as a bug in a rug. Here.
Oh, John, are you asleep already? I'm in front of the facility now, but something's not right. President Huang is here of all places, and what's more... Crap, the light just went off. I can barely see a thing now. I can't believe it, but it almost looks like he's being kidnapped.
The light just went off, I can barely see a thing now.
Didn't he say something about the situation?
Indeed. Mr. Cameron's testimony should provide a major clue. Oh! They were here by the lit light? No, this is after. They were here by this off light. But his light also went off. Oh, they'd have to both be by off lights. So if Cameron was here, they'd have to be here. Mr. Cameron said this on the answering machine. The light just went off. I can barely see a thing now. So he couldn't see himself? He couldn't see the people involved. They had to be by both the off lights. There are only two places here where the lights are broken.
The light by the orphanage.
Okay, could you please update the recreation?
Roger.
Yeah, and that still lines up with the footprints because they could have just walked through the non-snowy area. Can't wait for the weather to get colder. Me too. Question for the chat, what's your favorite season? I feel like my answer is a pretty common one. I mean, there's only 4, so. But fall is the best time. Because it's not too cold, it's not too hot. There are at least a couple of holidays, and you know, my birthday's at the beginning of fall. And it's just a nice chill time, no pun intended. You know, all those nice pumpkin drinks and all that. Yeah, look, they're over there now. I don't like how John and his mama are just standing by. This is... So, the kidnapper was near the orphanage? Indeed. With this, we've shown the connection between the orphanage and the kidnapping. So that's why they moved the body and took a fake photo to create false testimony. In order to remove any suspicion towards the orphanage in court. With this, the state of the recreation has changed completely. The time the body was discovered scene has probably been greatly impacted as a result. What? Really? The little thief accounts for, like, cause and effect? We changed the timeline! Snake, you've created a time paradox!
Then let's go check it out right away. Preparations are ready.
Pumpkin spice, I know. I happen to know a couple of people traumatized by the flavors of pumpkin spice. No, I like pumpkin-flavored desserts, but usually like pies. Oh, geez. I remember in college, every fall, they'd have pumpkin pies at the college lunch halls. I could not stop myself from getting one every day. The freshman 15 is real.
Since the state of the recreation has changed once again, I should press the Y button and select Change Recreation. Let's give it a try.
Why? I wonder if the microphone works today. Y'all want to place your bets? Probably not. It only worked that one time. Look at that. This brick looks like it's in the wrong place now, though. Look, it's here and there. No, wait, that's the phone. Originally, Mr. Cameron's body was here. In order to be consistent with the fake photo, he was moved to the center of the flower beds.
Then the footprints going back and forth in the body, could they be?
Indeed. There is only one possibility at the moment. These footprints were probably left when the body was moved to the flower beds. Well, this is weird, though. Because it's not that the body changed locations as a result of the test at the previous event. The body was actually here. We just knew it got moved from here before. Can I examine this now? Oh, that is weird. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious... Appreciate a good pumpkin pie, but you're an apple pie fan. I can respect that. I can respect that. I usually like pumpkin pie or pecan pie. They do got a lot of sugar, though. You know what pie I really like? Y'all go to the restaurant Jollibee, the Filipino fast food chain that's getting some more locations in the US over time. They got this peach mango pie. It's like the apple pies from McDonald's, but like good. They're like fried and they got like peach mango filling inside, and it's so good. It's so good. You gotta keep me away from them because there's no way you can give one to me without me finishing the whole thing in like one bite. Oh, they're so good. The blood splatter above the snow. There certainly was a substantial amount. It's almost as if the murder was actually committed here.
But Mr. Cameron should have been attacked near the snowman.
Exactly. In that case, this blood must belong to someone else.
What? But the police report said this was Mr. Cameron's blood.
The one in charge of the case was blazed at best. It would have been simple for him to falsify that information. That and the fact that blood tests actually aren't that good at, like, recognizing people. I mean, you could sequence their DNA, but I think what usually happens that's more cost efficient is they just check, like, oh, is it the right blood type? Alright, well, okay, good enough.
But wouldn't it be faster to just clean up the bloodstains rather than falsify the information?
You wouldn't be able to do that. Think about it. What if Ema Sky came in with her luminol testing fluid, you know? They had to account for every possibility. Yeah, Ema Sky when she was like, what, 5 years old in this time? Yeah! We talking about pies, but speaking of pies, I don't know how to turn this into a segue. Prismaya, coolest streamer I know. How was the stream? I saw you playing a little bit of rap with Bonesaw. Y'all go check out Mika. She's cool. She's small, but she will definitely hack you up. What's going on? Hope it was a great stream. Hope you all didn't die of dehydration. Welcome on in, Raiders. Hope you're doing all good. I'm Chris. I'm a chicken. I play visual novel games and Nintendo games, and I do the voices. Welcome to Miles Edgeworth, Ace Attorney Investigations 2. the game that never came to the West. Yeah, hope you have a chill on time. Keyline Prismaya. I like it, Zizzy. Thanks for coming on by. Thank you. Welcome, JamKiss. Redactyl. Welcome, everybody. So, yeah, if you want a little taste of what we do here we go.
Blaze knew that Mr. Cameron's body would be discovered here, in which case, the forensic department would naturally become involved.
Illuminal reaction! They would have discovered it with the power of science!
Alright, Kay, you've been hanging around Ema too long. She was like 2 years old in this timeline. Yeah. Let me set the stage for y'all. We're solving a case from 12 years ago, and we're using a little invention that Kay Faraday here has that recreates crime scenes. Doesn't matter how old they are, as long as you punch in the info, you can recreate it. So what's really cool is we recreated a building that's not even here anymore in order to investigate it out. And we're slowly uncovering the truth through falsified evidence and lies and testimony. It's all coming together. No problem, Mika. Nature do be calling. I mean, you've been, like, stranded in the ocean for, like, literal days now, right? So it only makes sense. You need to find a good source of water. The bathroom? Now, wait a minute. It's been going pretty good. We're in the middle of a little investigation, and it's using one of my favorite mechanics from this series. You recreate crime scene. Ay. Thanks for the toss. Oh my god, all 10 came at once. Something's going a little funky with Twitch integrated throwing system, I'll tell you what. It was actually broken yesterday. I had to update it to fix it. I am very scared what happens if someone were to redeem toss 100 right now. If 10 came at once, will my computer even handle 100 at once? I kind of want to try it, but I'm also scared. Oh! Oh my god! 100 pieces all came in one giant lump. Oh, that is so dumb. Also, that's a lot of points. I feel a little bit bad, but also that was amazing. All right. I guess if anybody wanted to do that, that's the result. Tits are angry tonight, man.
Precisely. It would have been difficult to completely erase all traces of blood. However, falsifying the results of a blood test would be much easier in comparison.
I mean, I guess this resolves our kind of hypothetical from earlier. We were like, why would you just not erase footprints instead of lying about them? Oh, because that's Blaze the Best's modus operandi. That's what he does. He doesn't care about leaving evidence behind. He just changes the truth to suit his needs. Which, again, I love that that's consistent about him. The writing in this game, so freaking good. Oh, you know what? There was an article that came out, I think just today, or maybe I just found it today, about the localization, the fan localization. This came out in 2015 from a small fan group. And here's the thing. If you look at the credits for the fan translation team for this game, pretty much everybody involved has just disappeared off the internet. Which, the way I say it makes it sound like a conspiracy, or like, oh, it's a murder case. Oh no! But I guess they just stopped being active on like GBA Temp or whatever. The only person that the journalist that wrote that article was able to contact was the project lead, who didn't even remember much themselves. I mean, this did come out like 7 years ago, this fan translation. So it's an interesting read. I forget which news site had it, but I'll definitely, if anybody can find it, it's an interesting read. The history of this translation, a storied one to be sure.
He would have just had to switch the results from the forensic reports.
Aw, what a bummer! Knowing those documents I read were falsified. It looks like Mr. Cameron's clothes were completely soaked in blood.
If the blood scattered here got onto Cameron's clothes, that would mean at the time the blood stains here had not dried yet.
I see. So then this certain somebody's blood. was splattered here just a short while before Mr. Cameron was murdered.
Indeed, that's exactly right. However, if that's the case, wouldn't a new contradiction arise in this recreation?
So, from the people we know are involved, it could either be the kidnapper's blood or Dijun Wang's blood. I doubt that Dijun was shot, was he? Alright, let's look at this again, see if I get nooks and crannies. Bop, 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 bop. 7 years of internet time. 1,000 years ago. Basically.
I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious...
Alright, okay. What lodge do I got? What did Blaze dig up? Was Blaze a kidnapper? Nothing really new there. Do we have any evidence that says that anyone else we know is bleeding? The snowman! It's the snowman's blood! Olaf was the murderer this whole time! Da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-do. Ba-da-do. Do I see any blood here? I don't think so. Someone had an anime nosebleed. Yes, we didn't know there was another person involved. It was a hot, beautiful woman. Causing nosebleeds wherever she went. Let's see. Died instantly. Killed after leaving a message from his cell phone. The issue I'm having right now is... if it's not Cameron's blood, then whose is it? Let's look at the testimony again. Looks like he's being kidnapped. Mysterious bloodstain. Let me look at everything around here first. Maybe the flowers. What's weird is, why does the bloodstain just kind of stop at the snow?
This seems to be the only area without any snow.
It must have been melted by the fire caused by the child at the orphanage.
Oh, you know, just causing casual arson.
The disasters just kept coming for this orphanage. After the fire, multiple murders occurred.
Huh? After the fire? If the snow had melted, wouldn't that mean...
Wouldn't that mean that the blood's washed away? Do 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 ba 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 da ba do ba do ba da ba do ba da ba. Scooby Doo boo. I'm having a little bit of an issue. The fact that I started this investigation a week ago, so maybe there's a little key piece of information that I maybe might have forgotten. Fire. Prior to the incident, a child's prank caused a fire on the facility grounds. I'm thinking. And the only thing that feels weird to me is that the blood only, like, matches the snow. Alright, hold on. Colorblind question. And it's especially hard because everything's green. But, does this area right here, without the snow, look kind of reddish, as if the blood stain was continuing or anything like that? Or is it just really that the blood is only on the snow? Which is weird to me. Really weird to me. Do we know what time the fire happened? No, it's just normal ground? Oh. Okay, I feel like it's important then. I feel like it's important that it's only on the snow. But if I deduce the blood stain with the fire... Eureka! Ha 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 ha! This is a clear contradiction.
Huh? You mean this bloodstain?
You see how this bloodstain is broken up by the remains of the fire? This is proof that the fire occurred after the blood had scattered around the area. Yeah, there you go. That's what it doesn't line up.
Huh? But I thought the fire occurred before the murder.
It seems that information is suspect as well. Believe nothing, not even yourself. If the fire had broken out after the murder, then the child who started the fire should have seen the body and the bloodstains. Why then did they not come forward as a witness? It's likely that would have put Blaze at a great disadvantage. Guess we'll need to investigate this fire in more detail. Hey, you! Yes, sir! There should be some records of the fire in the police department under a different case file. Charging a child for arson. I want you to bring me every last investigation report about that fire. Understood, Shifu! Oh, and one more thing. What is it, sir? Contact the House of Lang and Zhengfa. There should be evidence from this case in my old man's room. Huh? Was his old man really just poring over that case until the day he passed? What do you mean? I just remembered why I recognize this scene. A long time ago, I saw a picture in my old man's room. It was a drawing resembling this scene. We're gonna express FedEx it over? Oh boy, let's hope that they don't lose it in shipping. Apparently there's gonna be like a train strike soon, so a lot of ground shipping is gonna suck real bad real soon. So you know, if any of y'all got anything coming from Japan, my condolences. I say, being in LA where the port is kind of just right there. What did you say? However, I think it looked like something a child drew. A child? Then the artist may have been the culprit behind the fire. It should still be somewhere in my old man's room. Have them send it over here. Understood, sir. If a kid saw the body, Patricia was in charge of the orphanage. Clearly, she may have been involved in concealing the evidence as well. Alright, okay, well, I'm just waiting for that MIB dude to come back. What else do I do in the meantime? Had to wait till Christmas on the Hamtaro plush. I keep forgetting to buy it. I wonder if it's sold out now. I found a site that was selling the Hamtaro Godzilla plushes, and I want one, but I don't know if I want to spend essentially $40 on it. 18 of which is just the shipping. It's not great. But you know, that's how importing stuff from Japan usually is. I'm gonna see if I can combine these two. Oh, my health, it's dropping. My health is dropping. Oh! Well, good thing they actually connected at least. My brain cells, locking the pieces into place. The axons, the neurons. If we suppose that Blaze was one of the kidnappers, it becomes more likely that what he dug up yesterday is connected to the abduction. What is it?
I figured it out! It was treasure! Treasure! The One Piece!
Would you stop bringing up the One Piece? I still don't know what it is. You didn't give me a chance to go home and watch it.
Oh, Edgeworth, don't you know? You gotta read the manga. You'll never catch up. There are like 1,000 episodes.
That long? Oh, it must be good. I'm excited now.
Couldn't Blaze have dug up the ransom money?
The $100 million ransom? Buried in the ground until the heat had died down. It's certainly possible. Don't tell me it's actually buried treasure. Oh no, Kay was right.
I know, right?
The concrete broken, knees weak, palms sweaty, mom spaghetti. Monster's footprints updated. Investigation complete! Beautiful. Hey, that's pretty good. Only an hour? Not bad. I definitely made the right call stopping where I did last time. Yeah, there you go. That's why it felt weird. There was nothing else to investigate.
Shifu, I'm back!
Well, that was fast.
I've brought the info on the fire the kid started and a photo of the drawing in your father's office.
Oh, you know, for some reason I thought they were gonna just send the drawing over. Like it had to be the original piece of evidence. Didn't consider that they could just take a picture of it.
And also...
Oh, I've been waiting for this. Hurry up and hand him over. Easy progress. Let's go. Azura, nice 6th.
The information held by Agent Lang's father.
Big dragon. Oh, wow.
Bald! Bald! Bald!
Wait! I know who that is! It's Sir Handogan! Sir Handogan was a kidnapper? Although, yeah, you know, if the picture is fake, nope, yeah, think about it. Jack never mentioned a gun. The picture was fake. So, the person actually doing the kidnapping was Sirhan. This is it. It's exactly what I remembered. I like the rendition of Dijun Huang over there. He's looking really, fiery. This was the picture drawn by the child, depicting the night of the incident. It sure looks like it was drawn with a child's touch. Honestly, this is pretty good. It's like a regular Picasso. You have concerns about this kid. Yeah, the drawings are too good. The drawings are too good. As I thought. Like, that's the danger. That this kid might go to art school and have his dreams shattered. I don't know, I've heard horror stories of friends who have gone to art school and they're like, I want to draw for fun and be this kind of artist. And then the art professors are always like, oh, no, you will never get anywhere if you don't follow the rules. Follow the rules to a T. Believe you me. As I thought, the one who drew this is most likely the child who started the fire. And look at that. The snow is still there. Man, first Larry's drawings, now this kid's drawings. Everything is like, yeah, it's evidence, but it's not 100% true.
Shifu!
What now? Sorry, but it's gonna have to wait. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Discount Endeavor from My Hero Academia. I mean, yeah, you know what? That's what Dijun Wang is. Why do you think my old man had this? Perhaps he obtained it during the course of his investigation into the incident. I mean, that was the case that he probably felt guilty about for literally over a decade. It makes sense. It makes sense that he'd have whatever evidence he could find. Also, Raichu, thank you for the raid. Can we get a shout out for Raichu? Did we also get a shout out for Mika earlier? We did not. All right, let me just do both of those. First, shouting out Raichu. Man, sometimes I just assume a shout out's gonna happen. Then I get lazy. I've been wanting to make a bot that like automatically shouts out the person that just raided. What's up, Raichu? How was Nier Automata? Oh wait, didn't you finish the other Nier game already? So is this you starting Nier Automata? Ooh, how did it go? Hope it was a fun time. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Nice. Finally playing the game that everyone knows now. I hope you had a fun time. I love games made by Platinum. You know, makers of Bayonetta. Not even Square expected Nier Automata to be so good. And then it became their little darling that they only spent a little bit of cash on. Pretty good. Exactly. I hope you had a good time. Welcome on in, Raiders, and yeah. If you don't mind, I'm also gonna shout out someone who raided earlier that I forgot to shout out like a dumbus. Prismaya, Mika Cool Streamer. You may also know. Basically, I know both Raichu and Prismaya from Aho Hell. the Garfield tuber now. Or is that a thing happening yet? I'm not sure yet. Lovate. Welcome, welcome. Have a chill time. If you're new, I'm a chicken that reads things out loud. I hope you enjoy it. Perhaps he obtained it during the course of the investigation into the incident. Although I don't know why he would have had concealed it. Agent Lang, might I be able to see the details of the fire? Yeah, sure. Allow me to read it post-haste. Post-haste. This man really just said it. Ergo, post-haste, verily, yay. It really shows up if you play Ace Attorney 1 again. Been watching people stream that, and oh my god, Edgeworth's dialogue. Oh my goodness. Man's trying to audition for a theater or something. Edgeworth is a theater kid. The boy who started this fire snuck out of bed on the night of the incident. It seems this boy went missing several days later. Oh, well that's great. Maybe that's why they couldn't testify. What? Don't tell me that he witnessed something he shouldn't have.
That's horrible! He was only a child after all.
A child with no parents.
Well, I'd hate for that to be the case. We can't rule out the possibility entirely.
Huh? Apparently the boy left some stuff behind at the orphanage, and it was taken as evidence. What's this?
That's the missing horn from the Dolly doll.
Wait! Has it been missing for that long? Yeah, look at the picture. Look at the picture the child drew. The little moo cow plush had 2 horns. What's this? What's that doing here? Huh? Mr. Prosecutor, do you recognize this? I hope that kid's still alive. It would be 12 years later. Do you think it'd be anybody we know? An orphan? Imagine if freaking Sebastian the Best is adopted or something. Jeez. So let's see. It would be a kid 12 years ago. You think maybe Sebastian was 5 years old? He doesn't seem like an arsonist to me, though. Yes, I know one piece of evidence that's related to it. Which piece of evidence is related to what the boy left behind?
Take that! Mozilla!
I don't know what it's doing here. But, isn't that the missing horn from this Mozilla doll? No way. You mean this came off the president's? You know of it? Yeah, I've noticed the president keep it close by as a decoration. I always thought it was strange how one of the horns was missing. If you twist the horn, this doll will play back any previously recorded audio.
So if we put the missing horn back in place, we might be able to hear a different recording.
Really? It's got 2 recordings? It has a recording from 12 years ago? Oh my god! Indeed, it is possible. The doll is currently on the 51st floor of the Grand Tower. Hey, you! You heard that, right?
Yes, sir. I'll be right back.
Every MIB is just Kermit now.
It's not easy. Being green. Chifu, I've got it. The mighty Mozilla doll.
Well done. Give it over to the prosecutor over there. Imagine if we're wrong and it just records over the last recording. Oops, we destroyed evidence.
If we insert the horn found at the orphanage to the doll...
It's a perfect fit!
Finally complete after all these years. Although, couldn't you just, like, take the horn off of the other side and put it into the other side? That's the same problem I had with Capcom Resident Evil 2. They're like, you can't press both of these buttons until you find 2 keycaps. Okay, but just take 1 keycap off of 1 key and put it on the other one. Well, can you hear anything?
Mr. Huang! It's Amy. It's been a while. I saw the news that you would be coming to this country. I was really nervous about doing this, but I decided to send you a message.
Please! Stop the playback! Who is Amy?
Judge Courtney?
What's wrong?
Stop it! No!
It's a boy, your son. He's just been born.
Son. Born. Oh. Oh. Oh? Oh. Oh. Who do we know that's just over 12? Sunny Sola, thank you for the raid. How you doing? Welcome on in. The forecast for this raid is sunny. Well, that sounds like a good forecast to me. Hope you had a good time with Splatoon 3. You ready for that new Splatfest? Hope you had a good time with it. I'm still not done with the story mode, but I am totally ready for it. I might finish it next time, I'm not sure, but oh, it's been great. I love it. Yeah. How do you not follow? I have no idea, Caleb. Welcome, how's it going? Y'all doing good? Hope you're doing well. If you don't know me, I'm a chicken that plays games and reads them out loud. We're playing through Ace Attorney, and we got a revelation going on. Salmon Run. Oh my gosh. Did you fight the Koizuna, whatever it's called? I haven't even tried Salmon Run. I'm scared. I'm scared of it. Yeah. Alright, let me know which Splatfest team you're gonna choose. And, if y'all don't want spoilers for Ace Attorney Investigation 2, I suggest you may drop out now. Because it feels like we're about to get something big.
It's a boy, your son. He's just been born. I'm sorry. That's all I wanted to tell you. His name is John. John Marsh. It's a fine name for him, don't you think?
Oh! So John is adopted. Who's Amy? Why did Dijun Wang have a recording of this? Marsh? Did she say John?
I'll be waiting in the courtyard of the orphanage at midnight on February 9th. Even if it's just once, I want John to be able to meet you. I'm sorry if I'm being selfish, but I'll be waiting.
Huh? No way.
That was my...
John! What's the meaning of this, Miss Courtney? John is not my biological son. I'm a little bit relieved about that. For those who need context, Courtney is 26. John is 13. So, if she was his biological mother, that may have been a pretty tragic situation. He's adopted. Did John know about this? Of course he knew. John's mother, Amy Marsh, passed away about 5 years ago. Amy Marsh. She and I were cousins. So that explains the resemblance. They are related, but... You adopted your nephew? I guess that works. Since we were young, we've always been really close. We were often mistaken for sisters. That's why, when she passed away, I thought it was only natural that I look after John. Also, there were circumstances which prevented me from revealing his father's identity. Was his dad Dijun Wang? Is that why Dijun Wang is such a fan of Mozilla? Whoa! It all comes together! I never even told John his father's name.
And now it's all been revealed, thanks to the recording on that doll. Did John's mother send the doll to the president?
Hey,
John!
was he the president? Really my dad?
Ooh. Yes, he was. Dang. Well, if genetics are to be believed, then, yeah, definitely, start working out, kid. Before you were born, Amy worked as a diplomat in Zhengfa.
A diplomat? So that must be how she became acquainted with President Huang.
Hang on. Didn't you tell me she worked at the orphanage?
Yes, after returning to this country, Amy left her job as a diplomat. She always had great passion for charity work, so she began working at the orphanage. Eh? Oh, telephone's still on, thank you. Hey, Miss Courtney. So this Amy girl, she called the president there herself, but she never showed up at the scene of the SS5 incident. What's with that? Amy couldn't make it. Apparently, someone had been following her the whole night. Was that the exact same night as the incident? February 9th. February 10th, time of death. So it's the day before? So it wouldn't have... that's a very specific place to meet up, though. Did Dijun Wang get the dates wrong? Did he come a day late? Oh no! John could very well become Beefcake. He's just gotta get started early because, you know, he's drinking milk, he's got all that protein, builds strong bones. But, you know, Dijun Wang's true form revealed itself, and it wasn't exactly beefy. I'd say it was more cow than beef. Perhaps it was Blaze. I can't say for certain, but it's possible that it was his doing. After that, Amy never got another chance to see the president again.
No, she died 5 years ago. This conversation must be painful for John.
Hey, seems fine to me.
Oh, right. Hey, John, you thirsty? How about I buy us both some juice? We can go together.
Juice? When his stomach's already full of milk? Better not be orange juice, because that is gonna curdle in his stomach. Ew.
I'm a part of this too. I'll listen until the end. Besides, I can afford to buy my own juice. I'm a movie star. Ooh, shot down by a kid.
Ouch. Oh, wait. It was the morning of February 10th. So that means it still was the night of the night. So he was there on the right night. She didn't show up, but Dijun Wang did. Uh-oh. John, do you understand the reason I met with the president 2 days ago? Because he was John's father.
The secret meeting from 2 nights ago.
I wanted to tell him about Amy's death and that you were alive and well.
But I
see. That's why you couldn't tell us your reasons for meeting with the president until now.
I get it. She would have had to reveal his connection with John.
I brought a bouquet of lion lilies so that he would understand I truly did know about Amy. Those flowers are a dear memory to the president and Amy. The first present she received from the president was a bouquet of lion lilies. But now, even he has passed away. If only he were still alive. Perhaps I could have introduced him to John.
Shifu!
Not now, MIB. Didn't you hear the music? We're having a moment.
I'm sorry to interrupt this atmosphere, but there's something I need to say.
Ah, what is it now? Can it wait?
Well, actually, there's one last item that has been delivered here from Zengfar. I have here the president's will. Huh?
Well, how convenient. He had one. Well, it's time to enact it, I suppose. Hey, I'm a lawyer. I'll be the one who read it. Yeah, there you go. Oh, wait, Edward's not a lawyer right now. Francisca, read it. What?
The president's will?
My old man received a great number of special medals from the president himself. As a token of his trust, the president left his will in the protection of the Lang clan. Well, yeah, now would be a good time to bring it, I suppose.
Those medals and that will, they were the pride of our clan. Our family treasure, so to speak.
This is... Agent Lang, does that will have something to do with the current case?
You bet it does. It says here, I hereby acknowledge John Marsh as my own son.
Yo, John's gonna get everything. Oh no. Wait, does that give John a motive? That gives John a motive. Hold it! What? John's name is in the president's will? Yeah, Ray could also read it. I don't trust Ray. He can't read it. Francisca has to read it.
Are you certain that will was written by the president? Yeah, he entrusted it to the Lang clan even before the SS5 incident took place. They'll have to appraise it back home, but by the name of the Lang clan, this is the real deal.
Yushin Huang was the president of an entire nation. The existence of his son would have caused considerable controversy. However, he left behind a will just in case.
John wasn't aware, though. True, but you know, whoever's the prosecutor in court would definitely try to argue it. And then that's when we'll drop the knowledge bomb on him. John couldn't have known.
This makes it doubly sure. I still can't believe it myself, but there's no room for doubt. John Marsh, you are the son of Dijun Huang, president of Zhangfa.
So what, does that make him like royalty? Is he next in line for the throne? No, it's a presidency. John! Hey, come back here! Ow! John! I've been slowed down by the toss. Toby Maguire! Ba-da-da-da-da. Let's save it. We're still in the middle. According to the save file I loaded, we were in the middle part 1. This is middle part 2. This case is long. But you know what? I'll have it no other way. Look at that. Each hoof print. Basically where the flower beds used to be. The fact that they're hoof print shaped just because Blaze dug around the corners of the boxes. It's like he didn't need to do that, but sure. April 6th, 4:51 p.m. Outside Grand Tower, temporary film lot. Well, yeah, this is where John's dad died. John. Miles was the first one to run after him. Edgeworth being the dad he deserves to be. So that guy was my dad.
He found out about his own birth so suddenly. And furthermore, his newfound father is no longer in this world.
I always been searching for my dad.
John!
I get it, alright? He's the president, I know, it's a complicated situation. But we even met face to face during the filming. So then why, huh? Why didn't he tell me who he really was?
Oh, the hug. I'm sorry, John.
You don't need to apologize. No matter how you look at it, it's all my fault. Yesterday, I broke my promise with you and didn't even notice the fire on the roof. So I destroyed everything. I crushed it all. My dad, and those flowers that my mom carefully grew.
John! Please. For now, just don't think about anything. Just stay like this for a little while. Just for a little while. Okay? Let's let them have their moment.
The bond between a parent and child. That's the meaning behind lion lilies.
In the language of flowers.
I know it's not my style, but that flower is from Zhangfa.
Explains the lion motif. Does it? Well, yeah. I think so. Lions are pretty associated with what is essentially China. You know, you go to a Chinese architectured building and then you see all those lion statues with the ball inside their mouth. And you know what else? You know what else? There's like a famous tongue twister in Chinese that apparently talks about a hungry lion that lived in a cave. Something, something. And the fun part about it is that it's just the word shit. Like over and over again with different intonation. I can't recite it, but I've definitely heard it recited. It's ridiculous.
However, we have no means of protecting that bond.
Agent Lang, allow me to say this. The case won't be solved by sentimentality alone.
Wait a minute, Shi Long Lang? Wait, is his name Lion Dragon? I think I knew that, but I forgot.
Therefore, shouldn't we do all that we can to solve it? Yeah, you're right.
Finally, he's on our side. It took some doing. But now he believes us. We just had to earn his trust.
The recreation of the past is finished. Were your father's deductions correct? My old man took his deductions to the grave. He never told anyone about them. So, who knows if they were right or not? In that case, what about your own deductions?
Mom Courtney, Dad Edgy. Okay, here's the plan. Edgeworth and Courtney and Phoenix can all get married, but like Phoenix marries Edgeworth and Edgeworth marries Courtney, so it's just like a double marriage, and then they can all be everybody's parents, all of them, all at once. Sounds like a good plan. Good plan. I mean, 2 lawyers and a judge. Can you imagine how much money they'll have? Basically, the same amount as money as just Edgeworth and the judge. Who knows how much money Phoenix's law offices make? With the amount of cases that he does for Larry, probably not a lot.
I would like to hear what you think happened based on the recreation, in order for us to get closer to the truth of 12 years ago. Yeah, I was thinking it's about time. I can see it now. My old man's back, real close. I'll catch up to him for sure. To the truth that my old man uncovered.
Here we go! Phoenix makes money? Nope. Truth of the SS5 incident. I mean, didn't Ray Shields say that his law offices are all just pro bono? So maybe Phoenix is the same way.
There's no mistake that the president went to the orphanage. The stuffed toy is proof of that. He was planning to meet with Amy Marsh. However, the president was kidnapped, and Cameron just happened to witness it. If Cameron hadn't been there, it probably would have been just a kidnapping with no murder. Afterwards, the body was moved to the flower beds, and a fake photo was taken.
You always just figure that Edgeworth is Phoenix's sugar daddy. I'm not saying no. Seriously, if you ever play Spirit of Justice, there's a DLC case that I've been seeing a lot of pictures of lately. Where just like, Edgeworth and Phoenix just had this back and forth that just sounds like a bickering old couple. Like, I forget exactly what happens, but there's a line of questioning that has to do with flowers, of course. And Phoenix is like, Edgeworth, you know nothing about what flowers look like. And Edgeworth's like, this from the man that barely knows what a rose is. Jeez, it's like you two have experience with flowers and each other, huh?
Was that really what happened 12 years ago?
Da-ba-da-da.
However, there's one thing I still don't get.
Something you don't get?
It's this. Why did they need to take a fake photo? Why would they go through all that trouble and even make the president take part in the photo?
That's what I'm wondering. Sure, they would have wanted to take a fake photo to change locations, but what's so important about it? It has to have something to do with Patricia Rowland, or maybe the treasure that got buried. And the fact that The fact that Huang would willingly participate? If the treasure was the ransom money, it might be my theory. It might be my theory that Huang was in on it. That's true. However, the answer to that riddle must lie somewhere within. Once we get past the layers upon layers of deductions, we shall surely reach it. Yeah, that's right. I'd like to hear your deductions as well. Might I say, I'm glad that things aren't green anymore. Everything looks so colorful now. Justine be like, this is my husband, Miles Edgeworth, and his husband, Phoenix Wright. Nice to meet you. And these are all of our children. Hold it! Hold it! Oh wait, I should try the microphone. Agent Lang, I'd like to verify a few things that may have seemed obvious at first glance. Are we certain that the president actually went to the orphanage?
Okay, I get it. You're saying you want proof.
Everyone's always demanding proof of Mr. Edgeworth, after all.
You didn't have to tell him that.
The stuffed toy is proof. Hold it! Hold it. Hold it! Mata! Mata. I'm actually gonna try something here. Audio settings? Microphone input. I can give it a WAV file. I can give it a WAV file of me saying hold it. Maybe that'll work. How do I tell it what microphone to use? Oh, you know what? I bet I have to like set my default microphone in Windows. Ooh, that might mess up OBS. You know what? I'm not gonna try it. Low-key horrified. If Kay Faraday and Trucy Wright would team up. Oh yes, they'll make all your valuables disappear.
You mean this stuffed animal? The one with the recording device? That's right. Inside that toy was a recording from John's birth mother, Amy Marsh.
Indeed. What about Stan Marsh? What about Randy Marsh?
Indeed, she said that she would meet with him at midnight.
Ah. What did the recording say exactly? Ooh, maybe, okay, so even though it was the right night, maybe Dijun Huang still had the wrong night. Because if it said midnight on the 9th, he might have gotten confused. He came at midnight on the 10th. Because midnight is already the rollover of the date. Does it say anywhere? It would have said on the Mozilla doll. Damn, I can't hear it again.
Wow, you two are perfectly in sync. The truth is becoming clear, like you're peeling off the layers of a scallion.
Okay, a scallion doesn't have anything on the inside. Onions, please, don't make such foreboding analogies. At least say ogres have layers.
The truth is becoming clear, like you're peeling off the skin of a wolf.
Ew.
Can you stop making those foreboding analogies? Ahem. Let's get back on track.
Yeah, I know Amy didn't go because she was being followed, but then maybe also Dijun went on the wrong night. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Hold it! Da, 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 da. I'd also like to verify the details at this point as much as possible. Mr. Cameron witnessed the president and his kidnapper near the orphanage.
And Mr. Cameron was standing by the snowman near the road.
Then the murderer picked up a brick, snuck up on him from behind, and wham!
Don't scare Kay like that. Do not scare my daughter. Okay, we are simply verifying what actually transpired. There's no need to be scared.
That was so intense. Half the details of this case just vanished from my brain.
That's okay, they're still in mine. I hope.
Mr. Edgeworth, Mr. Lang, let's carefully verify all the facts of this case.
Yeesh. Well, if you're gonna listen, I'll talk as much as you want.
We'll listen to you any day, Lang. Just have Lang narrate a documentary about crows or something. If you had been there, you say? That's an interesting theory. Care to explain in more detail?
It's simple. Cameron was killed because he saw the kidnapping. The kidnapping itself was a success. If he hadn't been there, no blood would have been spilled.
Hey, that's not true though. It wasn't his blood. Someone else got hit, shot, something.
No blood would have been spilled.
You make it sound like it was his own fault for being there.
Okay, that's not it. What Agent Lang's trying to say is, simply besides Mr. Cameron, there were no other casualties at the crime scene.
Oh, was that all? Of course, that's obvious. The president was kidnapped, but once the ransom money was paid, he was returned safe and sound.
So it's not the president's blood.
Oh, this is not Chris's blood.
That sounds like an obvious point. However, something about it bothers me.
And whose blood was it?
I may need to reevaluate the evidence once more.
Clearly it was a bloodbender, just shooting blood all over the place. There was another fight that took place here. You just didn't know it.
You done explaining things to your assistant? I still have one last thing to confirm. Afterwards, the body was moved to the flower beds. That's also an important point. I'd like to take another good clean look at the information. Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's start with what Cameron saw before he was murdered. Cameron witnessed the president and the kidnapper in front of the orphanage. However, the culprit wanted to conceal the connection between the incident and the orphanage. That's right. That's why Cameron's original roll of film was disposed of.
Oh boy, if we could just find that film. I'd imagine though it was burned up in the fire maybe. Or disposed of somehow. But if we had that original film, oh my.
And a fake photo was taken of them standing outside the grounds of the orphanage.
Yes, and Cameron's body was then moved to match the photo.
It's finally becoming clear. The secret that was buried in the snow for 12 years.
Can't be the kid's blood, otherwise you wouldn't have the picture. Well, I mean, maybe he just had a nosebleed at the same time. I don't know. The fact that Sirhan Dogan was involved. Maybe it's Dogan's blood?
Is this the truth of the SS5 incident? Mr. Edgeworth, what's the matter?
There's still something hidden behind this case. Anime nosebleed. That's what I'm saying, remember. Remember the sexy woman.
What do you mean?
There's a piece of evidence that cannot be explained by Agent Lang's theory. Or maybe it was just Edgeworth. Just sexy Edgeworth. Traveled back in time 12 years. As long as there's a contradiction, we'll have to present it in order to advance our reasoning. Look at this. This is a totally different energy from the testimonies of before. He is working with us. And this is how he reached the truth. It belonged to someone other than the victim. This is why Edgeworth wears a red suit. So that if anybody has a nosebleed around him, it's concealed. If the eyewitness Cameron had not been there, no murder would have taken place. Is that really the case?
You were close. The criminal's goal was only to kidnap the president? If there was no witnesses, there would have been no need to commit murder. Right?
Oh, shoot, true that lie. This is my truth bullet. Random cereal bowl, welcome, nice 7. How you doing? And what if Cameron wasn't the only one who was murdered? An entire other person murdered? We know it wasn't Amy because Amy lived for at least like 7 years after. There was a large blood stain near the flower beds. However, Cameron was murdered near the snowman. Ergo, this blood stain could not have belonged to Cameron. Someone else's blood was spilled, and quite a vast amount at that. Definitely more than a cup. Still sick. Get well soon, cereal bowl. We need cereal at tip-top form.
Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Do you have any idea what you're saying?
I do. It's hard to believe, however, that is what the evidence indicates. On that night, 12 years ago, there were 2 murders.
Are you saying that the other murder was covered up? Who? Just who the heck could have been killed?
A murder that was cleverly concealed. All traces of it were erased, and the incident itself was completely deleted from the case files. However, there's one thing. One piece of evidence that still remains intact after 12 years.
This piece of evidence shows that something happened that night. Maybe it did involve Dijon Huang. That dog looks like an anteater. Maybe. The other murder incident was buried in the dark by Blaze the Best. However, there is still one piece of evidence that remains. Agent Lang, it survived by your father's hands. My old man, you say. Please recall. There was one more thing that was hidden along with the traces of the murder. And that is the existence of the boy who caused the fire. The boy who lived, or maybe didn't live. We don't know. Why did Blaze make the boy disappear? Maybe the boy didn't exist. Maybe he adopted the boy. I swear, if the little boy arsonist is Sebastian the Best, it's because he saw something that he wasn't supposed to see.
What was the thing that he wasn't supposed to see?
Everything is drawn in this picture. You made a small child disappear. Blaze, there's no end to your cruelty. Man just gets shittier and shittier the more we learn about him, and he's not even here in this room. The drawing my old man had. The person drawn on the right is most likely the president. The Muzilla doll is also drawn near him. And the person standing opposite him is... Oh really? The only bald, traditional clothing wearing person we know. You be sleeping? Ain't no problem, cereal bowl. Hope you enjoy. Hope you let the dulcet tones of the chicken voice lull you to sleep. A man with a knife and a large black dog. He is none other than Sir Han Dogan.
What? The assassin?
Why would an assassin appear before a president? The answer is clear. Indeed, what occurred that night on the orphanage grounds 12 years ago was not a kidnapping. It was a presidential assassination. And that... Presidential assassination. And it's not that he wasn't killed. It's that it was a body double. Or maybe the president now is a body double. Who knows?
Then Miss Roland and Mr. Blaze were...
Yes, the two were most likely partners in crime. One furnished the orphanage to use as the scene of the incident, and the other covered up the young boy's testimony. It's likely that Mr. Cameron was murdered because he witnessed the assassination itself. After all, the kidnapping never actually happened. Just for the record, F you, Blaze. Thank you. We'll take this into court. This testimony cannot be overruled, cannot be stricken. Stop messing around! You're saying that the president was assassinated 12 years ago? We just found his body today! He's been alive up until now.
That's right! I mean, we met him ourselves!
If the president was assassinated 12 years ago and the president's body was found today, that would imply there were two presidents.
Yeah, and that can't be right.
Are you sure about that? There is the possibility that there were two presidents. Yes, they live under a dual presidency.
That's right. Up until now, I've been getting a strange feeling from the president.
Even so, I respect the man.
Zhangfa is a small country, but he carried the nation with his strength. The image of President Huang that Agent Lang described.
You are wrong,
He revealed his true form.
He's been fake for 12 years? Oh, man. Man, what a body double job. You actually just become the president after the original president dies. It's like being vice president and president at the same time.
Differs far too greatly from the President Huang that we knew. It's as if they were two entirely different people. If there were in fact two Zhangfa presidents, exactly how would such a scenario be possible?
What would make the existence of these two presidents possible? It was a body double! Or he had a twin brother. I no. You know, as much as Ace Attorney would pull this, I don't think this is the game that does it. We've been told about body doubles already. If we were to assume that one of them was a body double, wouldn't it be possible then? A body double? President Wang possessed immense power and authority in Zhengfa. I'm sure there were those who envied his position and made attempts on his life. Yes, just as he was attacked a few days ago at Gold Lake. Impressive continuous deception roll of D20s. He had a bunch of bonuses from the DM. You know, they just really like to play favorites.
It's true. There were those who sought Wang's life from time to time.
Or, you know, in the Ace Attorney world, it's also possible that everyone else rolled a nat 1 on perception.
But I can't easily believe there were two presidents. At least not without any evidence.
Do I have evidence that proves there were two presidents?
Ba-ba. It's gotta be here somewhere. Maybe his shoes? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at all the evidence. Prisoner Zhengfa Jishan Wang was kidnapped on February 10th, 12 years ago. Kidnappers demanded ransom $10 million. President was at the Zhengfa embassy. Oh, well, yeah. On the evening of the incident, the president was at the Zhengfa embassy. Well, that just makes two presidents.
Has Ancient Lang not noticed this contradiction? Or has he noticed it but can't admit it?
What is it, Mr. Prosecutor? Don't shout out something only to suddenly clam up.
Oh no, I'm hamming up. I'm hamming up my version of the truth. According to the recording on the dole, the president visited the orphanage at midnight. However, that should not have been possible.
Huh? Why that?
Why? Because at the time, the president should have been at the embassy. He was together with Agent Lang's father.
So, Agent Lang, you really did notice.
He was in two places at the same time. Ergo, there must have been two presidents. Which of the two was the real president on that day 12 years ago? For the sake of drama, I want to say the real president died. Most likely the one who died.
Who? Who contracted Dogen to murder Huang?
In order to learn that, first, we must have a look at the evidence that we proved was false earlier. And the piece of evidence we know to be false is
this photograph. Take that! The photo taken with Cameron's camera was taken after he was murdered. That was a very palindromic sentence. Taken with Cameron's camera was taken. And he was murdered because he had witnessed the presidential assassination. In other words, the photo must have been taken following the assassination. Given that, who is the president pictured in the fake photo? We must consider him to be the body double.
In other words, the body double had the real president murdered and then took his place.
So he could take the money. It's all the three-part scam. It's like the evil version of the Yatagarasu. What? They're the Yatagara poo. Patricia Rowland and Blaze must have cooperated in that plan. Think about it. In the same way that the Yatagarasu was a defense attorney, a prosecutor, and a thief, the new Yatagarasu could be a president, a warden, and a prosecutor.
Hold it! Huang's body was never found. Just where could it have disappeared to?
That's some balls on the body double's part. Or maybe he was planning it this entire time. The Watagarasu. Wah!
The answer to that is already quite apparent. This is where the real president's body was.
Oh, I'm supposed to know that? It burned in the fire? It was eaten by a dog? Where? Hold on. We gotta do some thinking. Oh, maybe it was also buried along with the treasure. Yo. Do I present the monster footprints? Take that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're burying treasure, oh look, there's also this dead body we gotta hide. Let's bury that too.
Last night, there was something Blaze had to unearth with his own 2 hands.
Oh, that's so... Oh my god. Oh, that's kind of poetic. So, the real Dijin Huang was buried under the footprint for 12 years. And then the body double died 12 years later on the same spot.
The item was not the ransom. It was something far more important.
So Blazin buried
The real president's body.
Yeah, it's been rotting there for 12 years.
The possibility is quite high.
Because they would have started excavating. They would have started excavating to build a new building here. And then they would have found it.
What you say?
The bones from the body buried 12 years ago would have still remained.
According to Mr. Powers, construction was to begin soon at this lot.
Karma foreshadowing. Right there. The game was showing us this whole time. Would he just be bones? I don't know. I guess, yeah. Depends on how much bacteria is in the soil.
That was the deadline. Both for the movie and retrieval of the body.
because they would have found the body when they started the construction.
Agent Lang, let us search the footprints that Blaze dug up. Yeah. If the body was buried there, there'd be traces of it. Hey, someone call forensics!
The second investigation, but also the last investigation. You know it, Fizzle Dragon. We're on the last case. Hope you enjoy it.
I have the results of the search.
Okay, the MIB was Kermit. He can be Ozzy?
Waka waka. I have the results of the search. We found traces in the dirt that suggest the body was buried here.
So, it was Huang after all?
We also recovered the skeletal remains that Blaze the Best dug up. They were in his home.
Well, if that ain't damning evidence.
In addition to the bone structure, the dental records and the bone fractures all match up. We can confirm that it was indeed President Huang.
They got all that from the bones. Modern science is amazing. 12 years, dude.
So, the real President Huang was indeed killed 12 years ago.
Woo! Nothing like a skeleton to stop construction. Yeah, the foundation would be so shaky. Thanks for the hydrate. How you doing, Haru? Saw your new favorite game list. Saw you made a least favorite games list. I don't hate games enough to make a list like that. That's a funny idea. Putting Tiger Electronics on there, I feel like that's cheating. Good job, John. You didn't murder your dad. You just murdered who you thought was your dad. Your dad's been dead for 12 years.
The SS5 incident was a murder.
Oh boy. What's an average time of decay? Body buried 6 feet under ordinary soil. 8 to 12 years for the body to decompose. Wow, well, perfect timing then. Assuming it's not placed in a coffin. You think that's why they made this case exactly 12 years ago? Because they wanted to make sure that the president would have been a skeleton by then?
So the SS5 incident was actually a murder incident. But there's so much information. It's way too confusing.
Indeed. Let us take this opportunity to review the details of the case.
First, the real president came to the orphanage, right?
You were wondering when I would play Hunipop on stream. You'd think I'd like it. Isn't that game banned? Isn't that banned on Twitch? Yeah, TOS violation. Let's go. I might as well play Second Life while I'm at it.
12 years ago, the true President Huang visited the orphanage in order to meet his son. The footsteps in the snow that we thought belonged to Mr. Cameron explains why they were so big.
Look at that! The president's got a king as his icon, just like when it was the first case.
But most likely made by the president at the time. President Huang was supposed to meet his son here.
It's not gonna be, it doesn't have to be on Twitch. Well, yeah, no. I don't know if it's also banned on YouTube. I gotta go check if Markiplier's Hunipop videos are still on YouTube. Doesn't really matter though, we know for a fact that YouTube plays favorites with them. Frickin'. And did anybody know what came of Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and all those big YouTubers doing that, like, try not to get banned challenge? Did YouTube actually ever do anything? We were talking about it the other night.
However, the one who actually showed up was the assassin, Sir Han Dogan.
They did nothing? Of course. Of course, YouTube did nothing. This is why. Like, I've been hearing messed up stuff happen with Twitch, with, like, how they treat their users. But, like, where would I go? I don't think I would go to YouTube. I mean, I might if I have to, but I don't willingly want to go to YouTube. I only use it for video archives, and that's it.
He came here to meet his son, but was murdered instead. How horrible!
A man like Dogan shows no mercy. And after that, the second tragedy occurred.
You mean Mr. Cameron's murder?
Indeed. Mr. Cameron saw the decisive moment.
Oh, those videos were demonetized? Well, I guess. YouTube would really save face rather than save money. Just this once. You know, they're still probably, like, working out some kind of deal, pocketing cash from it.
After the real president was killed by Dogan, his body was carried to the rear courtyard by the team of kidnappers. Mr. Cameron must have witnessed that moment from the orphanage entrance. Although he was himself believed that he had actually witnessed the kidnapping. Furthermore, by this time, the body double who had come to meet up with Blaze and Miss Rowland was already standing behind Mr. Cameron.
Teleports behind you.
Nothing personnel, kid. And then the witness to the incident, Mr. Cameron,
Was killed by the body double. So was Mr. Cameron's corpse also carried by the body double?
Yes, that seems likely.
But there wasn't anything at the crime scene that looked like a body double's footprints.
No, remember, the size 11s.
I've already figured out how we accomplished that. There was a piece of evidence that would have made it possible. What did the body double use to move the body without leaving any footprints?
I think the fire? There are footprints in the area of the fire, but, you know, they got melted away, so we didn't see them. Aha! So they did erase footprints! Take that! No, it's not. Twitch and YouTube got their demons. I mean, overall, like, here's just my take on it. Twitch's strategy has been try to be nice to the people so that they be perceived as the good guy over YouTube and less corporate. Because YouTube went the hard route and said, like, oh, monetize content, make sure the ads are all perfect, make sure nothing is copyright, like, preemptively try to catch any all copyright violations. So that's what YouTube did. And that way, like, you don't hear about people getting DMCA'd on YouTube because you would first get, like, a copyright strike. But on Twitch, there was that big thing that happened like a year or two ago where people actually got DMCA takedown notices. And because of that, Twitch wasn't really allowed to tell them what videos were being copyrighted. So people had no choice but to delete every video they had on Twitch, which really sucked. It really sucks. So, like, Twitch bet on the horse that didn't win the race. They bet on people not actually putting in DMCA takedowns. But then they did, and then Twitch had to comply. It's just a different way to handle the situation that didn't work out. And, you know, I don't blame them. But they definitely should have had a plan for if it did happen. That I do blame them for. Anyway, what moved the body? Ba 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 da 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 da. So, did YouTube not do anything, or did they actually demonetize? Because Haru's saying they actually got demonetized. Anyway, how would the body have moved? Let us see. Clearly using the Mozilla head. Mozilla? Mozilla. Am I overthinking it? It's the victim shoes. They did leave footprints. Okay, it was what we knew before. I got confused by the phrasing. Because they said, oh, without leaving footprints. Like, I thought they did leave footprints of the wrong size.
This is almost certainly how the body double carried Mr. Cameron's corpse. After Mr. Cameron was killed, the president's body double carried him into the middle of the garden. I suspect the body double was wearing the same shoes as the real president at the time. If he made sure to step precisely on top of the footprints left by the real president, there you go.
Ah, since the shoes were the same, there would only be one set of footprints left behind in the snow.
I knew that was gonna have to happen at some point.
I think I've got a pretty good grasp on the SS5 incident now. But there's still one thing I don't get.
What's that?
Why did they need to stage the abduction?
Because Mr. Cameron witnessed the incident. He saw the president at the orphanage. He left behind witness testimony on Miss Crane's answering machine.
Yeah, the body double was already behind him when that happened. He knew he left a message.
Even Blaze couldn't make that disappear. Ergo, the body double needed a reason for the president to have been at the orphanage.
He created his own truth, as Blaze the Best does.
And that's why they prepared the fake kidnapping charade.
The people in the fake photo are the body double, and most likely, Patricia Rowland.
The person in the coat is Miss Rowland? What makes you say that?
The two would have had to leave the orphanage in order to take the picture. Just like when he moved the body, the double used the real president's footprints.
So the second set of footprints must belong to the person in the coat.
Indeed. We originally believed that those footprints belonged to Cameron's killer. They were size 7 footprints, too small for Blaze's feet.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of the person in the coat, and it was pretty small.
Thus we can presume that the person playing the part of the kidnapper was Patricia Rowland.
If only she used someone else's shoes. Like child shoes. Just confuse everybody. What I'm wondering is why Sirhan Dogan didn't leave any footprints. Is he just that good? Or maybe they really did just cover that up.
Hidden in the shadow of the presidential kidnapping was a presidential assassination.
Yo! Hiding this entire time.
A crime within a crime. Crimeception. I see. So that's why my old man...
He what? Curious, what's my favorite saw trap? Sock on these nuts?
The old man must have realized that a murder had taken place. After all, he had the kids drawing.
However, that picture was never presented as evidence.
Your father likely took it from the young witness during the investigation and hid it.
Did he think that the evidence would have been destroyed if it existed? If it had been brought up? It feels counterintuitive to take it from the crime scene, take it from the case. But this is one of those situations where it probably was safer with Lang. Okay, so Mark and Jack's videos probably just took a while to get demonetized. The fact that they had to force their hand, jeez.
He had to have known that Huang was dead. But what if he had revealed that back then?
Revealed the death of the president, the backbone of Zhengfa?
It would have caused chaos. And that's why my old man took the secret to his grave.
Anyone getting Mask to Mask flashbacks? Oh, it's been so long since I played Ace Attorney 3. Like, I barely remember it. And that's unfortunate for me. I'm doing it on purpose. I'm forgetting on purpose so that I can replay it someday. That's what you do with Ace Attorney. It's a series that's so good that you'd like to play it a second time. But you have to erase it from your mind before you do so. So me, you know, I haven't played them all the way through since high school. I'm basically letting them rot out of my brain cells before I play them again. It's taken a while, but I think I'm there.
He even took the blame for the kidnapping, knowing that it would be the fall of the House of Lang. So, this is the truth that Agent Lang's father hid 12 years ago.
Now it all becomes clear.
Da 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 da. Ooh. So even to the end, Dai Long Lang was loyal to the country, to the original president. The fact that he would conceal the original president's death for so long. He'd already lost his friend at that point. At that point, all he had was country. It makes sense. Who is talking? Is that really the case, I wonder? Huh?
Wait, is that really the case? I wonder. Who's there?
Oh no!
That bell. It's...
Yo, arrest this man! He escaped from jail! You're still walking around in broad daylight with your prison outfit? How have you not been caught?
Sir Han Token! You! Why are you here? How can you just brazenly show up here? Who do you think you are, pal?
Arrest him!
I found the conversation most intriguing, and I just, well...
Are you feeling nostalgic about an old murder of yours?
You're the one who killed Huang.
Gumshoe, arrest him now, please.
Nostalgia? I think not. You were speaking about the person I am searching for.
You're searching for someone?
I escaped from prison in order to meet with a young acolyte. The one who wore the red raincoat.
So it wasn't you directly? What you talking about, Mr. Egghead? The red raincoat? Who is this person?
I suspect that it's the same person as the mastermind you are searching for.
So it wasn't Dogen?
Someone you've been searching for.
The one in the red hood.
The Red Hood?
Don't they seem surprised, Anubis? Yes, they are, my boy. 12 years ago, this young acolyte saved my life.
Oh, hi, we're testimonying now. Dogen's savior. Look at him, villainously monologuing, giving us all the details. Let him do it, Edgeworth. Let him do it.
Certainly, it was I who killed President Huang. However, my life was also targeted on that day.
Here we go.
The body double, Blaze, and Patricia all sought to seal my lips. Had I not been reunited with the young acolyte back then, I would have been in danger. But alas, even to this day, I do not know what has become of the young acolyte.
How young are you talking? Like young enough to be at an orphanage during the time and start a fire? Is that why the boy who started the fire disappeared? Everyone is connected, I swear. No one is mentioned without a reason. So, your client was indeed the body double, who was the main perpetrator of the crime. A client who sought to kill you right after. They don't know who they were dealing with, but also kinda wish that they did. What?
It was a long time ago, but I remember his words even now.
So this is not Dogen talking then. There have been countless attempts on my life. Not just once or twice. Countless! And yet, why must I be the only one to face the danger? When I stand before the people, I garner the same Oh, it's the body double.
When I stand before the people, I garner the same respect as the president does. Tell me, just what is the difference between him and me? The difference was great. Well, the voice and style of speech may be the same.
One man definitely had much less integrity.
One can mimic the body, but the heart cannot be reproduced.
Not without stem cells. I suppose his own weakness cost him in his quest to become a leader. That's extra ballsy. Killing the president and the assassin contracted to kill him. Trying to double-cross both. Yeah, no. Ballsy or just idiotic. Butterfield Pollo. How you doing, sir? You having a good night tonight? You planning on doing some streaming later? Hope you're having a chill time, man.
Now that Rook's gone, I'm in charge.
I'm not sure if you're as capable as Rook was.
What are you saying? I'm totally the leader now.
Unless Rook was the acolyte?
Perhaps the king and his knight were not so different after all.
The double believed that the president's only weakness was a woman called Amy. To find the woman, he needed the assistance of someone from this country.
So he joined forces with Blaze.
After determining her whereabouts, he simply waited for the right opportunity.
That chance came with the meeting at the orphanage.
Indeed, the director of the orphanage was bribed and brought in as an accomplice.
He must be referring to Patricia Rowland.
Well, given what I've told you, do you realize the whereabouts of the young acolyte now?
You mean the boy who saved you? But how do you know that he is the mastermind?
That day, the young one caused a fire at the garden of the orphanage.
I knew it was the same kid! Radswell, hope I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging in there. You know, I ate some delicious pizza for lunch today. It was left over, but so what? Oh, speaking of delicious, I got some delicious desserts from a certain delicious person. Wait a minute, what? Oh, I finally got to try the Nanaimo bars. I'm so happy. It only took how many months? How many months? I'm glad they are as fluffy and rich as I imagined. It was very hard to eat, actually. Yeah, no, my traditional birthday desserts from Queen Miku. I thank her so much for them. I don't really have a good picture of them because this time they didn't come in like a container, so I kind of just spread them on my counter. I'll take a better picture soon, I swear, so I can share it.
Oh, you're talking about the kid who started the fire as a prank.
Just a prank, bro. Was it, though?
A prank? Not at all.
Not at all, boy.
On that night 12 years ago, the young acolyte was hiding inside the igloo.
Not the bear glue.
It was the scene of something vile.
It seems he witnessed Patricia and Blaze moving the body from his hiding place.
PB.
Apparently, he heard them talking during that time. It would seem that they were planning to kill me because I knew the truth.
The bear glue was an evil layer all this time. You press a button and then a chute opens down into a secret underground lab.
In Dexter's lab.
He immediately came to the main hall to tell me that. I learned this about the young acolyte sometime later. It seems he was wearing a red raincoat at the time. He led me out of the main hall. And then the young acolyte said he was going to get rid of our footprints. So he scattered some lamp oil near the igloo over the snow. Then he boldly set the oil ablaze.
Ablaze, you say?
No way! So he set the fire in order to...
All their focus was diverted towards the burning flames. I took the opportunity to escape through the rear exit. Rear.
So the boy in the red raincoat is the mastermind behind this case? Well, we do know about a boy that wears red, but, you know, John was 1 at the time, so I don't think it was him. It had to have been somebody who was a boy at the time.
Exactly. Isn't that right, Anubis? Yes, boy. Yes, it is.
Sunny Soul's gotta go. Hey, have a good night. Thanks for that raid, and, hope to catch you soon, okay? Yeah. Have a good night. Okay, let me see. If we're gonna figure out who this savior is right now, who could it possibly be? I mean, Sebastian would have been 5 at the time. Simon Keys would have been 12 at the time. You don't think he's involved now? But why else would he be here at all? Why? Unless it's Horace Knightley.
Certainly, it was I who killed President Wang.
It was Larry. You don't care that he couldn't have been there. He might have been there. You admitted that rather easily.
These days, I have long grown tired of killing.
Regina's there too. You saying Regina used to be a boy and also a murderer?
And in those halcyon days, I devoted myself to the path of an executioner.
If something smells, it's usually the butts. You know what, Chibi, you're right. Actually, it was Larry. Final answer.
If one cannot admit that much, what can he admit? Right, Anubis? Yes, my boy.
I feel like he's saying something scary, but it's kind of hard to understand him.
This fallen priest is saying he has no feelings about the president's death. Logan, the assassin, an escaped prisoner, he should be a despicable opponent, but silencing him now would be imprudent. I must keep my composure and let him talk. I understand your point. You killed the president.
That is correct. The aim of my blade never misses its mark.
But his life was saved on that day. Your life was targeted. You, the assassin?
The hunter becomes the hunted. The Buddhist becomes the Buddha. That's not how that works.
Okay, you don't have to make up strange proverbs.
Life is transient, especially for an assassin whose life is always exposed to danger.
So does that mean people you've tried to kill have fought back?
That is a rare occurrence. However, this was different. The body double, Blaze, and Patricia all sought to seal my lips.
Sir Handogan, you are a master assassin.
Thank you.
I'm not finished yet. As such, could you not have evaded an attack from those three and fled the scene?
You greatly overestimate me.
I mean, he is blind.
Without Anubis by my side, I would not be even able to walk about. If those three were to attack me all at once, I would not stand a chance.
I see. So even as an assassin will fall to superior numbers in a frontal assault. A Ratchet and Clank full frontal assault.
I suppose one could say that. I, Sir Handogan, would have suffered a shameful defeat.
Well, you know what isn't shameful? A raid from Iron Merlin. Can we get a shout out for Iron Merlin? What's up, Vin? How's it going? Were you playing more Genshin Impacto today? Hope you had a good time. Did you make any progress? I don't even know how you make progress in Genshin Impact. It's like, it's a gacha game, right? So you just play through the story with all your 5-star characters, right? And if you don't have 5-star characters, you just become sad that you're not as good as you could be. Final Fantasy XIV, also an MMO. Then in that case, you feel sad that you're not as high leveled as you could be. Ooh. Doing all those MSTs or whatever, I don't know what they're called. Look, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! The only MST I know is Mystical Space Typhoon. Ah. And so does Merlin as well. Beloved He-Man, what's up, Ari? Welcome on in, everybody. We're interrogating a serial killer. He's actually pretty scary, and he has a dog. Don't let the dog fool you. He's cold-blooded, and his name is Boss. No, his name is Sir Handogan.
Had I not been reunited with a young acolyte back then, I would have been in danger.
Welcome on in, Raiders. Hope you all had a good night tonight. Yeah. Sit back, enjoy the show, because we're about to uncover some truths. And I feel like I'm on the verge of finding out something horrible about somebody we may already know, but do I believe it? Reunited? So where did you first meet with him?
That would be 18 years ago, on the 24th of December.
Alright, okay. So they're definitely older than 18. So it's not Sebastian. Good. That takes care of one possibility. That is a rather long time ago.
On that day, our roles were reversed. I saved the young one's life.
Ace Attorney's going well. It's one of those games where once all the pieces fall together, your brain just explodes. Like a chain reaction, that all the little atoms taking place together, just reacting with each other and going critical. It's like, it's almost there, I can feel it.
There was an unusual snowstorm on that day. The temperature was well below freezing.
Oh, so you're saying it was almost Christmas. It wasn't Christmas, but it was almost Christmas.
I took Anubis for a walk in the snow. That's when Anubis noticed something and started running. I followed after him and found a car.
Oh, clearly, you were the one who pushed young Josuke Higashikata in the car. Back in Moriocho.
I had great difficulty opening the door. It had frozen shut.
Eh? Of course! What other missing kids do we know about? The 2 kids from the freaking... Oh my god. Oh my god, the 2 kids from the... The missing children of Dane Gustavia and freaking... Ivan Dover? Isaac Dover? Something... Davner? Something like that. Isaac Dover, that's the one.
In the back seat, there were 2 young children, shivering from the cold.
Sirhan, you are blind. How do you know that without going inside the car?
2 children? Had they remained in the car for an hour longer, they surely would have frozen to death.
Just put a little sign on here that says, like, don't worry, they're listening to their favorite music and the AC is on. That's the problem! The AC is on while it's cold! Better get the culprit. I'm trying.
I mean, this guy just admitted he killed someone, so that's easy enough.
I brought the two of them to a nearby orphanage.
Well, was it? Ah, it was that orphanage! And that way he could operate from there as a base of operations. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Is there anything about Dogen's story that concerns me? Yes. I don't know what yet, but there is. What concerns me is the model of the car. He didn't say anything about the car. Number of children. Yeah, what happened to the other one? Or the date, 18 years ago? 18, IS-7. 24th of December, almost Christmas.
The 24th of December, 18 years ago. Are you sure about that? There is no mistake.
Could that mean? Oh, hi, Ray. Nice of you to join us after all this time. I know the significance behind that date. And also the fact that the game showed me who the children were. What shows the significance of the date when Dogen found the children? Oh, you know, a certain IS-7 incident.
That day, a certain incident occurred. A sculptor was murdered. During that incident, 2 young boys went missing. The sons of the victim, Isaac Dover, and the culprit, Dane Gustavia. We never did find out where the 2 boys went after that case 18 years ago.
Just leaving a plot thread hanging like that, really? No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. Thanks for the hydrate. Blade's back. Welcome back.
Oh, they were the sons of a victim and a culprit? It all makes sense now.
What makes sense?
One of the youths was bound so that he could not move.
Mr. Dover did it so that Mr. Gustavia's son couldn't come to the contest venue.
Indeed, Gustavia was using his own son as a taste tester. To think, that was what transpired. Neither child seemed to recall what had happened.
They lost their memories?
The acolyte told me this when we were united 12 years ago. The pair were placed in an extreme situation, on the verge of freezing to death. Their trauma led them both to suffer from amnesia.
Is that possible? Sounds like it could be. Maybe not amnesia, but like post-traumatic stress to the point where like they blocked it out of their memories.
Neither could so much as remember his own name.
So they didn't even know that they were the sons of Mr. Dover and Mr. Gustavia?
Yeah, something like PTSD, I'm thinking.
Indeed. While we cannot say it conclusively, the probability is quite high.
However, we still don't have enough information to deduce the mastermind's identity. Or do we, though? I'm just being meta with it. I don't know. I'm just gonna let the game play out.
Dogen, would you please continue your story? Very well.
Like, Dogen's not a medical expert. He doesn't know what amnesia is. He's not qualified to say that. All he knows is that these 2 kids didn't have their memory, so maybe it was actually PTSD more like.
I continued my correspondence with a young acolyte even after entering prison. Recently, that has all come to an abrupt halt, however. It left me quite concerned. Furthermore, those involved in the crime 12 years ago were all drawn into incidents one by one. I grew more and more curious, and so I absconded briefly from the prison.
That's it.
Those involved 12 years ago were Patricia Rowland, Blaze the Best, and President Wang's body double.
And Miss Rowland was the warden in Mr. Dogen's prison.
I blackmailed the warden. That woman had tried to kill me. Perhaps the good prosecutor has already deduced the reason? You murdered President Wang. However, the world still believed he was alive. If you were able to prove the president was a fake, both Patricia Rowland and Blaze the Best would have been in danger.
So that explains why they have such a relationship going back. It wasn't just, oh, Patricia Rowland trying to make sure you know where Dogen's lackeys are. No. There was a deeper reason. She had to keep him quiet.
That is correct, and I had heard the proof with my own ears.
I'll be waiting in the courtyard of the orphanage at midnight on February 9th. Even if it's just once, I want John to be able to meet you. I'm sorry if I'm being selfish, but I'll be waiting.
Damn.
Who might you be? My apologies, but I'm presently waiting for someone. I am well aware of that, President Huang. Are you not meeting with your son?
Oh, the Mozilla might have been a present. Now that I know that the Mozilla doll, it was owned by the original President Huang, it's not because he was a fan of the movies for John Marsh being his son. No. Clearly, this Huang died never knowing that he'd become a movie star. No. It was gonna be a present for his little baby boy. For his lover and the powers. Damn! Damn!
However, I do not spill blood needlessly. You may relax. I seek only the President's life.
It can't be. Please wait. I am just about to meet my son for the first time. I am sure this will be the first and the last time. Please, at least wait until we are finished.
I thought the President would beg for his life, but he was of a different sort. Officially, the President had no son. However, he shook his head and said, this illegitimate son was his, and he intended to recognize him publicly. Furthermore, he claimed that he had already made preparations toward that end. In his will. Left it to Lang. Would that son of his be the boy with horns over there by any chance?
Boy with the horns? Wait, you can see John's horns? Well, yeah, what? Was he just never blind? Or what? Do you, see, Toph Beifong from Avatar The Last Airbender? You just, sense the vibrations in your feet?
There is no need to see them. From the moment I escaped from prison until now, I have been closely lending an ear to your voices.
At the very least, he is the one who listened to our freaking radio bug. He said that the President made preparations toward recognizing his son, but the word preparations alone would be insufficient for blackmail.
That's it! There is one thing that could prove Huang's words. The will held by the House of Lang. That was also proof of his trust in us. His son's existence would have been revealed to the world. The name on the recording, the mention of preparations, and the will in Zhengfa.
Oh yes, Anubis told him about the horns.
Together, they suffice to make the warden bow to my words.
With those three pieces of information, one could prove the identity of the double by using John. He's just a tool of the government, son of a politician, so he's basically just Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 2.
The President blocked the first strike of my knife with something soft.
His heart?
As pieces of it fell atop the snow, I struck once more. This time, the blow proved fatal.
We getting raids on raids on raids tonight. Oh my goodness. Big stuff is dropping right now, Common. So, yo, thank you for coming on by. Can we get a shout out for Common Rider? Everybody go check him out. He's a cool dude. He's a masked hero. He kicks things. Mostly me. What? No, just kidding. Well, come on in, everybody. How was the stream tonight?
So, Dogen cut off the Mozilla doll's horn.
None but I heard his final words. None but I heard his final words.
The monster hunter rise. What you fight tonight?
Aya!
By the way, I figured out why it's loud. Yeah, there's a bug with Twitch integrated throwing system right now. If you throw anything more than one at me, it throws them all at once. And yes, that does apply to the throw 100.
Only myself and that child knew of the president's secret son.
Oh boy. Shotgun effect. Yeah, shotgun my eardrums. Ow. Jeez. You're lucky that you guys hear the desktop audio at like minus 12 decibels. Because, oh my god, my ears. Capcom Tokyo Game Show? Oh, Connor, what did they talk about? I didn't watch it. Nothing Ace Attorney related, of course, right? Right? In other words, you contacted him from prison?
That is correct. A post office box was used.
A post office box? P.O. box. It would allow one to send and receive letters without revealing the recipient's location.
I could not use a form of correspondence that would reveal the acolyte's location. There was someone keeping watch over my correspondences after all.
He must mean the prison warden, Patricia Rowland.
Could you be more specific about the nature of your correspondences?
Well, they were mainly moves for my correspondence chess matches.
Correspondence chess? If I recall, the person you were playing against...
This might be hard to believe.
But Dogen's chess opponent was.
Are you saying they were playing against Mr. Knightley?
Unless that was more like... Well, we never really heard from Knightley that he was playing the chess. You just saw the evidence. We just saw that Knightley liked chess.
Wasn't it Horace Knightley?
We certainly found the correspondence chess memo in Knightley's cell. Hey, hey, hey! This is moving in a direction that sounds pretty interesting!
Does that mean Knightley Boy was the kid from the IS-7 incident?
Would that really be true?
Is there any evidence connecting Knightley to the IS-7 incident? Oh yes there is. Oh yes there is. Let me just... A ring and a chessboard. And what does a ring have to do? Dogen's chess partner. Interrogate him. The thing he laid to rest in front of the flower bed, you must simply retrieve it. Well, no, this connects him to the SS5 incident. What is connecting him to the IS-7 incident? Dun 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 dun. No clues to the whereabouts of Dover's son or Gustavia's son. I'm having some thoughts. Well, just so I cover my bases, I'm presenting this because it is the IS-7 document. No, it's not it. Mr. Shields, I'd like you to take a look at this piece of evidence.
What about it? Are you saying it's evidence that connects Knightley Boy to the IS-7 incident? Uncle Ray doesn't think it has anything to do with the I incident at all, though.
Perhaps I should think it over one more time.
Why don't you look over Knightley Boy's belongings one more time? Something related to the IS-7 incident might just pop out.
Oh wait, I haven't looked at them. Can I investigate them? It's not 3D. Hold on, we gotta get back there. We gotta get back there. Do we have that photo of Gustavia and his sons? Not in this case, no. It's old evidence. It is evidence from the IS-7 incident. You'd think it'd be in the incident documents, but I don't have them on me.
Correspondence chest?
Yeah. This is something that's really important when you're playing an Ace Attorney game, I've noticed. If you get to a point where you have to present something, don't forget that you are doing that. Please do not forget that there's a thing that you can do. Bum 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 ba dum da dum dum. Well, said Knightley's belongings. I can't check them, but I do have them. Right here.
This was all that Knightley left behind. Could there be a clue hidden within? Which should I investigate? The ring or the chessboard?
We still don't know much about the ring. I want to take a look at that. This ring is... Why did we only now just look at it to see it? Well, okay, it's a Pierre Hoquet ring. Now we know for sure. Gee, I would have liked the game to let me see that before, so I could present it.
Mr. Edgeworth, what is it?
Mr. Shields, please take a look at this ring.
This pattern is... It's Pierre Hoquet's!
I thought so. He had Mr. Dover's seal turned into a ring. However, why would he have this? Shouldn't it have been held by the police as evidence from the IS-7 incident?
After the incident, the seal was returned to the victim's next of kin. Mr. Dover's only family was his son.
Was his son!
But since no one knew where his son had gone to, it took a while to get it to him. I'd heard that the police had finally found him and delivered his inheritance, but...
So the seal was thereby safely delivered to his son. And then he turned the seal into a ring and wore it on his person.
His son being...
So Mr. Knightley was Mr. Dover's son.
So his son. And that explains Simon Keyes. They really were friends from so long ago because they were at the same orphanage. They were the two boys. They really were friends.
The police aren't fools. I'm sure they did a thorough check before handing over the seal.
And, you know, I realized it a couple of minutes ago already. Like, Simon Keyes being being Dane Gustavia's son. Like, he had a shaved head, so you wouldn't think they're the same person. But yeah, grow it out, and yeah, same face structure.
If someone involved in the IS-7 incident was his chess opponent...
Knightley, huh? Then that man must be the mastermind behind this case, but
He's dead!
So maybe...
But Knightley is dead. He cannot be involved in this incident.
how about that? The only one who could be the mastermind was himself a murder victim.
But a dead guy can't be the culprit.
So there's no way that's right. No way, you said. No way, you say.
Yeah, no way! No way!
No way, no way?
No way, no way, no way!
It certainly is strange. In that case, who is the culprit?
Recently, that has all become to an abrupt halt, however. I'm quite concerned.
It came to a halt? Now? Of all times?
Quite odd, is it not? Anubis told me again and again how odd it was.
No, that was just him barking.
Odd, odd, odd.
That scary dog talk?
Was he saying like...
Something's odd. Hello, Reggie.
Kamen's got the deets from the Capcom Tokyo Game Show. Resident Evil Village DLC, Monster Hunter Rise updates, RB1-3 Village Cloud for Switch. Yeah, you know what? They did... Wait, 1 through 3? 1 through 3 for Switch? I like that. I like that. Wait, oh, damn it. You mean like... Wait, I'm confused. 1 through 3 Village Cloud. the original 1 through 3 or the remakes of 1 through 3? Because one is already on the Switch, one remake, but like the classic games could be ported. Please tell me the classic games, because that means RE2 remake and RE3 remake would probably also be cloud versions on Switch. Oh,
I can understand Anubis's heart, even if he does not voice his thoughts.
and Street Fighter 6. All right.
And there's something I'd like to ask, just in case. Your scary dog's staring at me right now. He's not saying, I'm hungry, I want some meat, right?
Don't worry, I don't think crow meat is good on the menu.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Mr. Edgeworth!
It seems she's not much good with the assassin's dog.
Good boy, there's a good boy. So then, at any rate, my correspondence with the Acolyte suddenly came to an abrupt halt. Furthermore, those involved
All drawn to incidents one by one. But it was no coincidence.
That certainly does seem too much for a mere coincidence. The body double of Dijun Huang, the president of Zheng Fa, faked an assassination plot. Patricia Rowland, the prison warden, murdered Horace Knightley. And Blaze the Best, the chairman of the PIC, murdered Jill Crane. Come to think of it, as I have been investigating these cases, I have felt the presence of some force behind the scenes.
Tying it together, as if they wanted Edgeworth to figure it out.
even within the prison, I could tell that this was no insignificant event. I grew more and more curious.
You absconded. Oh, you just took a paid leave, did you? You absconded briefly from prison. I cannot forgive such a criminal act. Gumshoe, arrest him now.
I ain't doing it, sir.
You stole your way out of prison? I cannot forgive such a thieving act.
Stole. Ha. Nice localization pun.
Relax. No one was hurt. I merely have connections that allow me to set foot outside.
He's been free this whole time.
Even so, you can't just escape from prison, pal. Arrest him!
You're the police officer, dude.
That won't be necessary. Once my business is done, I shall return to my cell. You trying to make fools of us? A prison isn't the kind of place you can just enter and leave at will. The wolf may say that, but one can see that the wolf and his pack also share an interest in the tales of my past.
Agent Lang, Detective Gumshoe, there are still a few things I must ask Dogen. Please postpone matters until then.
Yes, I knew you'd say that, Mr. Edgeworth. Damn it all. But I'm not taking my eye off you for a second. Writing red letters in Braille can be a rather enjoyable pastime.
Excuse me, but you wrote your letters in Braille. How do you do that? Do you like poke holes in it? Or do you have like special little stamps?
Indeed, for I possess the tools necessary to write in Braille.
I know such kind of things exist. I think they're like little stamps that you put on the paper and it embosses them so that they become like dots.
Wow! So you need to use tools to write in Braille? I never knew!
Then would you please tell us what you wrote?
Everything. Letters, of course, and also the movements of the chess pieces.
You wrote the movements of the chess pieces by hand? That statement is intriguing.
Oh, that means the copy that Knightley had was a copy! It was written by a TypeScript. So then, how does your handmade dog piece move?
Okay, that question can wait. So then, what did you do when the letters stopped coming?
Within the prison, I grew increasingly concerned about the Acolyte's whereabouts.
Okay. But even so, I don't really get it. Who exactly is this Acolyte?
Indeed, Dogen himself has not yet made that clear. What's important is that the thread connecting Dogen and this acolyte the correspondences, and not just the letters. We should pay attention to the means that was used as well.
Here we go!
Ro's gotta go, but you'll catch up with the VOD. No problem, Ro. You know the VOD's gonna have something spicy tonight. I can only imagine. That's the best part of Ace Attorney, when you actually figure something out ahead of time. And you just gotta push that evidence in someone's face to prove it. So if I press this again, will something happen? Let's see. Oh, look! I can't fast forward it! This is new! That was your means of playing correspondence chess. You used chess notation for your moves.
As expected, the good prosecutor has done a thorough investigation.
His chess opponent was Horace Knightley, right?
The Ring Knightly War. Mr. Shields, please have a close look at it.
Yeah, there's no mistake. This is the evidence from the IS-7 incident. The police force found Mr. Dover's son and returned it to him. If you're saying that the son was Knightley, then the acolyte who was Dogen's chess opponent and the mastermind was Knightley?
No, Knightley has already been murdered. He cannot be at the center of the incident. There is no doubt that the mastermind is still hiding somewhere out there.
Well then, Mr. Dogen. Sorry to have kept you waiting.
That was a rather interesting tale, wasn't it, Anubis? I shall continue my story about the acolyte. Our long-standing chess match continued.
Writing letters in Braille. So maybe I present the correspondence chess memo typed on a word processor. Give us a name, old man. I've already got an idea. I'm certain you said you wrote your letters in Braille.
Correct. The good prosecutor must know that I am lacking insight, do you not?
The correspondence chess letter we found had been typed out using a word processor.
What? That cannot be.
I mean, you could technically do that if you knew how to type before you went blind. Then you just type on a typewriter. What do you mean?
So, someone went out of their way to retype the letters on the computer?
Would another person have acted as a middleman between Dogen and Knightley?
What do you mean?
Echoes on, thank you. Dogen wrote his letters in Braille. However, by the time it reached Knightley, it had been rewritten on a word processor. We must assume that some middleman rewrote those letters.
And the reverse can also be said. That same somebody might have taken the letters Knightley wrote and redelivered them to Dogen.
Yes, that is indeed true. Is there a special type of Braille that's for Japanese? I wonder. You know, thinking about how he would have written in the original localization, not localization of this game. Can you imagine? Or is it just like Romanized? Do they just type in like Romanji? Because think of all the different kanji and hiragana and katakana. If you had like corresponding letters for that in Braille, I guess it wouldn't matter as much though. Because if you're blind, it's like, why would it matter what the difference in reading is? Like you probably think about language in terms of the phonetics anyway. So if there's a Japanese Braille, it probably is just based on the sounds. Basically katakana. Knightley and Dogen both communicated through a certain individual. Dogen, were the letters that reached you?
They were in Braille, of course.
I mean, can't really read much else.
So Knightley Boy's letters must have been transposed by that same person as well.
Oh, then that somebody must be
the mastermind behind the case.
You're saying there's someone else who's the mastermind behind this case? Then who the hell is it?
Dover's son Knightley is already deceased. He's already wa Shinderu. In that case, there was one more youth that we should consider to be the mastermind.
You mean Dane Gustavia's son? But who the heck is he? If Knightley is Dover's son, then Gustavia's son must be...
Well, we're the only friends either of us have had since childhood. He was the same as me. We never had real families.
It can't be. Could it? Could it really be him?
Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth, what is it? You've gone all pale.
I've figured it out.
I've been pale for a couple of minutes now.
The identity of the mastermind who's been controlling this case from the shadows.
What? Who in the world is it?
I don't want to believe it myself, but it is someone we know quite well. The mastermind is...
This whole time? Yo, I'm having a Danganronpa moment here. And for once, I haven't been spoiled on it. Clearly, it's Regina Berry. No! Take that! Take that! What the hell, dude? What the hell? People who know. People who have had known since, like, case 2 of this game. You must have been, like, just ha-ha-heeing to yourself this whole time, haven't ya? Haven't ya?
The mastermind behind this case sent a letter to Jill Crane, which deceived Blaze. Furthermore, he kidnapped Joan and eavesdropped on us. However, all of his actions, the one I've not been able to get out of my mind, is how he brought an unconscious Kay to the roof.
The giant monster. Huh? Did you just say something? All right, okay, we're kind of trailing off from the person's profile who I just presented.
That's right. The key to exposing the mastermind is in the monster's true form.
I almost forgot. If you'd like, please come to our next show. I'll also be performing in it. The Very Big Circus is always fabulous and fun for all ages.
Miss Swift, there is something I would like to ask of you.
What? You mean me? Yeah, someone who's also been here this whole time.
You said you recorded the sound of Muzilla spewing flames. Would this decisive evidence of yours be something you recorded on that tape recorder?
That's Mr. Edgeworth for you. You're good at figuring things out, ain't you? It's the sound of Muzilla spewing out fire. This place nearly became a sea of flames.
The Muzilla head.
It was on fire.
That's right. I ain't actually seen it with my own eyes, though.
Could you let us listen to the tape?
Sure thing. There we go.
The sound. It is as I thought.
Maybe that's not the sound of fire, but the sound of a pulley of some sort?
So, it seems my reasoning was correct. The true nature of the monster and the mastermind. All of my logic is coming together.
It is, though. It really do be, though. All the cases so far, all intertwined by this one thing, this one person.
Miss Hart, you said that you captured a giant eye on film, did you not?
Sure did. Right here in this photo.
Sure.
Though we cannot confirm it like this. Detective Gumshoe!
Yes, sir.
Is he gonna zoom enhance? Don't tell me he zoom enhances it.
Lend us your film analysis device.
Oh, you can use it on pictures too?
Okay, but what do you want to analyze, sir?
This photograph, please.
I'm on it.
Manfred von Karma wishes he could have pulled this off. Okay. Franziska von Karma still wishes she could pull this off. I mean, that's just Ace Attorney for you. Everything is always connected. But I never expected like this. There really was an eye.
This is...
See? Ain't that the Mozilla's eye right where I said it would be?
I see. I finally grasped. My ass. The true form of the giant monster that was being controlled by the mastermind.
Giant monster? Are you admitting it? Y'all, ain't you? You're admitting that the mighty Mozilla is real.
Firmly grasp it.
No. This is not Mozilla. This is the eye of a different monster. Please have a look at this.
Seriously? Seriously? I would not have remembered that. That's a good thing Edgeworth did, though.
It's a flyer for the Very Big Circus. This is...
Precisely. There's a rather large balloon with the head of a lion pictured here.
Oh. And nobody noticed that? Nobody noticed that just flying around? Really?
This balloon is the true identity of the giant monster. In addition, the sound Miss Swift recorded, which she believes to be Mozilla spewing flames, was the sound of the hot air balloon's burner.
Mr. Prosecutor, don't tell me. You're gonna say something that'll shatter my dreams of a scoop.
I mean, it's still a pretty good scoop, though. And this time it'll be realistic.
Hot air balloons fly by using burners to hit the air, right, sir?
Precisely, Detective. The mastermind used this monster of his to bring Kay to the rooftop of the Grand Tower without using the elevator.
Wouldn't that mean that the mastermind is someone connected to the circus?
I would love to think that if you had presented Regina's profile during all this all plays out the same, but with Edgeworth saying, like, it was clearly Regina Berry. And then everyone's just like, Edgeworth, you're an idiot.
He's a member of the circus, Knightley's friend, and Dane Gustavia's son. Who'd have thunk it?
Who'd have thunk it indeed?
An apprenticed beast tamer. He's no amateur.
Oh my god! Him? I wouldn't have thought he could hurt a fly. I defended this man. I defended him. I should have just let him go to jail, honestly. Honestly.
For the beast he has tamed is none other than this entire case.
Simon Keyes. He is the mastermind behind this whole incident.
Mr. Keys? Was really behind it all?
He was the key person.
No way. I don't believe it. I mean, you trusted him. How can it all have been a lie? That's just heartbreaking.
Kay.
Oh, and if he went to jail, if he went to jail for Horace's murder, then Sirhan Dogan could have easily just busted him out. Like, they would have been in the same place. It would have been actually kind of scary.
What is it?
Hey, you! Stop! Where do you think you're going?
The boy with horns is rather perceptive.
Dogan tried to escape during my whole anime rant. Oops.
The good prosecutor has done a remarkable job.
So, Dogan, why do you care? Why do you not care if Simon's identity is revealed?
Now that I have heard that, I have no further business here.
What?
Wait. Dogan!
Hey!
Dog Sprite just bouncing on top of Edgeworth. That was the dumbest animation I've seen, but I love it.
Damn it! Where'd he vanish to?
Mr. Edgeworth, are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. Good thing that my suit is dog-proof. However...
That guy!
John!
And then Edgeworth gets mauled.
That Dogen guy. He's the one who killed my dad, right?
There's no question more difficult to answer. However, there is no use in denying the truth. Yes, John, you are correct.
Rip Edgeworth. Yeah, ripped to pieces by a dog.
Ooh.
What would Simon go to jail for exactly if we had let him? Well, he would have been jailed for the murder of Horace Knightley, which turns out Patricia did. But now that we know that Patricia and Horace and Blaze the Best, to an extent, and Sir Ed Dogen are all connected, like, who knows how much of that was staged on purpose to get Simon in jail? Maybe he wanted to go to jail? I don't know.
He'll pay for this. I swear he's gonna pay. I'll make him pay myself.
John! You mustn't finish that thought. Prosecutor Edgeworth, please pay us no mind.
Sir, I put out an APB on Dogen. All available police units will be searching for him. You're the man, kid. I don't mean to be heartless, but we need to hurry, too.
Oh, are you asking what he's done now? Well, I don't know if he'd go to jail now. We're trying to get him on, like, being the mastermind behind this case. So, you know, whatever legal claims come with that. But we still have to prove it out, you know.
So, Mr. Prosecutor, where's the mastermind right now?
Agent Lang is right. Our top priority right now should be catching the mastermind.
When did we last see him?
He said he would be practicing. He is most likely at the Berry Big Circus tent.
Unless he has a sneaking suspicion that we're onto him and he's just lied to us.
But first, Agent Lang, I have a request.
Request? What is it?
Now that we've identified the giant monster, our next order of business is to capture it.
All right, Lotta, Nicole, you're up. You know, we don't want John to go for revenge. He's a kid with a good heart, but he's a little emotional right now. We don't want him. Let the adults handle this. There's scary murder stuff going on.
The moment we arrive at the tent, I need you to locate that specific item post-haste. And Detective, I ask that you perform a follow-up investigation to the kidnapping incident.
Roger that, sir.
Mr. Edgeworth, I want to help out too.
In that case, you'll be in charge of calling for backup. If he is truly the mastermind, we may require assistance from a certain someone.
Not Phoenix Wright, no way.
I met him so many times, yet his facade always fooled me into sympathy. He may have got the better of me in the past, but this time, I'll settle it. Once and for all.
Ultra Instinct Shaggy, you're going down. Transcending time, space, game franchises. Just put him in the next Marvel vs. Capcom. But that being said, unfortunately, it is time. It is time once again. I'm sorry, y'all, but it is the 3-hour mark, and I gotta preserve my voice. I'm just thinking about that truth bomb. I knew something like that was coming, and I didn't want to believe it either. But he's the only one that matched up. Childhood friends, since long time ago, same age as Knightley, friends with Knightley. Like, what? Like what? Knightley wasn't the mastermind, so who else was it? Final showdown next stream? Well, I'm not sure about that. Because remember, the save files so far have still been set in middle. So if the next save point says end part 1, that's still like part 1 then part 2. So yeah, I don't think I'm finishing this game tomorrow, but we are almost there. I wouldn't be surprised if we finish it next week, honestly. So, you know, I'm just gonna write it out. I'm just gonna write it out. After all of this, the villain we're looking for, it's not a Mr. Diplomatic Immunity. It's not even Blaze the Best. who's proven himself to be a clown and the entire circus.
No, no, no! It was somebody from the circus! What? What?
I did not suspect him at all until things started to fall into place. It's just so... I don't know. I had this feeling, like, ever since the beginning of the game, like, I knew, as is with every Ace Attorney game, that everything has to connect together in some way, somehow. And I think that would have been my only complaint about this game so far, that it feels like people are being shoehorned together to connect. Like, did Knightley just happen to be murdered in the second case? Oh, that's how we lead into Patricia Rowland? Sure, why not? I guess we can have a nice little case with that. Oh, no, 18 years ago, 12 years ago? Oh, unrelated incidents, clearly. Unless they were connected by one specific person, one specific pair of people who were involved with all of them in some way, some form. This game. Well, in one stream, that opinion has changed. This game actually does set it up so well. Shadow Stormstrider came in after I'm explaining the big twist. Don't worry about it. I'm ending, so hope you had a good night. Everybody. Let's see if there's any stream art, but jeez. You know we're gonna continue this tomorrow. That's all I'm gonna say. Alright, no new stream art, but as always, if you have new art for the stream, post it to the Discord or tweet it at me, and I'll put it up. Sure, you know what? I've been thinking about new prompts for the art prompts. It's not like an official deadline thing anymore these days. But I'm thinking something maybe Metal Gear related. I'm thinking something Splatoon related. If I was to say if there would be a prompt or not, I just want people to make art for the Splatfest. The new Splatfest. Gear versus food versus games. What would you pick? Make art about it. I'm gonna do the same thing and post it to the quote-unquote Meverse in Splatoon 3. I'm working on it. I have an idea. I already have an idea what I'm gonna make. But I will still need to reveal the team I'm gonna be on first. So, it's gonna all come together. Just you guys wait. Just you all wait. You got it. Alright, Haru, I anticipate. You know, I know you could never resist making Splatoon art. Okay. Everybody, we'll continue this tomorrow. But if you haven't already, follow me on Twitch to catch me live next time I play this or any other game. Links are in the chat for the Discord, YouTube for past VODs, Twitter for memes, I guess. I'm not sure what my Twitter's for anymore. I post the schedule every week, I guess. But, you know, it's just for fun. That's what it is. It's for fun. And you might catch me like in Ace Attorney stuff. Yeah. Alright, everybody. If you're going to sleep, I will let you have a good night and stay clucky, y'all. I know. Everyone must be in anticipation of what's happening. But it's gotta wait till tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.